Chapter 1. Danyang Mountain. Danyang Sword Sect. Battle cries shook the sky. Hundreds of people surrounded the Eastern Sun Sword Sect, and more than 30 agile figures were fighting outside the ancestral hall of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. The number of Danyang Sword Sect disciples guarding outside the Ancestral Master Hall was decreasing. In the end, there were only 3 people left. Defeat was close at hand. All of a sudden, sword chi swept across. A figure appeared at an incredible speed, and a frosty sword aura completely enveloped the dozens of figures outside the ancestral hall of the Danyang Sword Sect. Chi! 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 Before the 30 figures could react, blood spurted out. 14 of them were hit by the sword at the same time and were forced to retreat. Xing Hui. It's Xing Hui of the Danyang Sword Sect. Sword Saint Xing Hui. He's here. Didn't Wang Shunting ask the Warrior Association to put pressure on him and ground him in the South Mountain courtyard? Retreat, retreat, retreat. In an instant, the 30 figures that surrounded the last 4 people of the Danyang Sword Sect retreated at the same time. In the blink of an eye, they retreated 100 meters away. They all looked at the green figure that suddenly appeared with fear. Xing Hui, you shouldn't have come. A woman who seemed to be the leader of the remaining 3 people of the Danyang Sword Sect looked at him and sighed. As a disciple of the Danyang Sword Sect, it's my duty to help the sect when it's in trouble. Xing Hui stepped forward and helped the woman sit down gently. You're not from the Jianghu. Why are you involved in the whirlpool of the Jianghu? Your father is the deputy mayor of Puyang City, and your mother is the president of the commercial bank of Yuhai Province. You have a bright future. If you don't get involved in the Jianghu, no one will dare to touch you with the help of the National Warrior Association. Xing Hui looked at the woman whose white clothes were dyed red with blood and lowered his head. I have my reasons for coming. Hearing Xing Hui's words, the woman tightened the corner of her clothes. Her pretty white face was full of sorrow. Junior brother, this is my choice, Xing Hui said. His tone was not heavy, but it was full of determination. Xing Hui, you're just a martial arts enthusiast who joined the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. You're not a true disciple of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. Do you really want to meddle in the affairs of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect? It was a serious crime for a martial artist to kill a high-ranking government official. Jiang Ningji had killed Governor Yi, Director Huang, and Mr. Qi of Beijing Province by relying on her martial arts and swordsmanship. She had also killed 23 police officers who were sent to arrest her. Her crime was not punishable by death. This matter had reached the central government and caused the higher-ups to be enraged. The higher-ups of the Martial Artists Association headquarters had personally given the order to destroy the Danyang Sword Clan in order to correct the public. Today, no one can save the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. If you insist on relying on your swordsmanship to protect the Eastern Sun Sword Sect, then in order to maintain the order of the Jianghu and prevent the conflict between the Jianghu and the government from intensifying, don't blame us for bullying you and killing you together. At this time, among the panicked crowd surrounding Xing Hui and the others, a man who looked to be in his 40s stepped forward and shouted in a deep voice. Senior sister killed them because they deserved to be killed. They raped the female disciples of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect and tortured them to death. If such scumbags are not killed, the world will not be appeased. Jiang Ningji, you shouldn't kill them. The Martial Artists Association will discuss with the government and give the Eastern Sun Sword Sect an explanation for this matter. As the middle-aged man spoke, he sternly glanced at the blood-stained woman in white behind Xing Hui. This matter could have been resolved peacefully, but because of you, the entire Eastern Sun Sword Sect has been destroyed. Now, if you don't want the inheritance of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect to be completely destroyed, you'd better come with me to be punished. Otherwise, none of the disciples of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect will be able to leave Mount Danyang alive. They deserve to die. If this happens again, I won't regret it. Jiang Ningji's pretty face was resolute. She would rather die than live in dishonor. You, because of your impulse, the government's fear of the Jianghu has increased again. The people of the Jianghu are in a more difficult situation. Even enough. Before the middle-aged man finished speaking, A fierce shout suddenly came from the crowd. Then, the crowd of Jianghu people separated, and a special tactical team of 108 people quickly came out of the crowd. They were fully armed and holding guns, aiming at Xing Hui, Jiang Ningji, and the elders of the Eastern Sun Sword sect, Jiang Yun and Gu Ke. In the center of this special team, a middle-aged man with a dignified aura and a man with a colonel's insignia arrived at the same time. Governor Yi, Division Commander Huang. Seeing the two appear with soldiers, the crowd of Jianghu people was obviously in a mess. Among them, the middle-aged man who had spoken to Xing Hui earlier had a dark expression. He stepped forward and said, "Governor Yi, Division Commander Huang, since this is a Jianghu matter, it should be handled by the Jianghu people. This is the agreement made between the Jianghu people and the government. Therefore, Governor Yi and Division Commander Huang, please ask these soldiers to stand down for the time being." Stand down? Yi Qingsong, the governor of Beijiang province, stared sternly at the middle-aged man. Luo Fuxing, let bygones be bygones. I've already given you a chance, but you don't have the ability to deal with these remnants of the Dongyang sword sect. As such, we have to do it ourselves. After Yi Qingsong finished speaking, he did not give Luo Fuxing a chance to speak at all. He turned to Division Commander Huang and said, "I have heard that those martial artists who have cultivated to the peak of Jianghu can dodge bullets and fight against modern firearms, but I don't believe it. The man in front of me is known as the Sword Sage. Half a year ago, he single-handedly defeated 10 martial Dao masters in the country. He's one of the strongest martial artists. Today, I'd like to see if he's really, as rumored, able to fight against the fully armed elite special forces with his flesh and blood. Please broaden my horizons, Commander Huang." "As Governor Yi wishes." Governor Yi, Division Commander Huang. Luo Fuxing was about to say something, but Huang Qinglong had already given the order. "Kill. Retreat into the ancestral hall." Xing Hui did not want Yi Qingsong and Huang Qinglong, who were not from the Jianghu, to suddenly order the soldiers to open fire. He immediately grabbed Jiang Ningji and flew toward the ancestral hall behind him. "Xing Hui, Gu Ke, take the young sect master and leave quickly. I will cover the rear." Elder Jiang Yun roared the moment everyone was about to open fire. His qi and blood surged, and he suddenly shot toward Yi Qingsong and Huang Qinglong in the middle of the military formation like a cannonball. "Die, dog officials! Open fire! Kill them!" Seeing Jiang Yun charging over at a speed that far exceeded the limits of the human body, Yi Qingsong's expression changed, and he hurriedly shouted, "Bang! Bang! Bang! Bang!" Gunshots immediately sounded. However, under the attack of the bullets, Jiang Yun's figure changed at an unimaginable speed. In an instant, he broke through the firepower net formed by the 108 Special Forces soldiers. Even though his body was grazed by the bullets and was bleeding, he had already pounced in front of Yi Qingsong. "Die! Humph!" At this moment, Huang Qinglong, who was in charge of giving the order, snorted coldly. The next moment, his qi and blood erupted as he rushed toward Jiang Yun, who was already at the end of his rope, and punched. As the two fists collided, a shock wave surged, and Jiang Yun, who was charging toward him, was blasted away by this blow. Huang Qinglong's body also shook as he took 3 steps back, crushing the neatly laid marble slabs under his feet. "Martial arts? I know it too. Although I, Huang Qinglong, am not a martial Dao master, I am an advanced martial artist. You won't be able to kill me." Bang! 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 At the same time that Jiang Yun was repelled, gunshots rang out. Jiang Yun, who had not had time to breathe after his qi and blood erupted, was no longer as lucky as before. In an instant, he was shot full of holes by dozens of guns and died with anger and indignation. "Go! Leave no one alive." Huang Qinglong's eyes glittered. "I heard that the Danyang sword sect has a heavenly bookstone wall inscribed with ancient words that no one can understand. Today, I have the opportunity to mobilize the army. I must obtain this heavenly bookstone wall." As this thought flashed through his mind, he secretly glanced at Luo Fusheng and the others. It was likely that more than half of the Jianghu people present had come with the same goal as him. Otherwise, these people would not be so proactive. Ancestral Hall. It was built from a cave near Danyang Mountain, and a small half of the hall was embedded in the mountain wall. Young sect master, Xing Hui, there is a secret passage in the cave that leads directly to the outside of the mountain. However, if no one stops you, once someone notices and catches up to you, you won't be able to escape even with the secret passage. Therefore, I will stay behind to cover you. You two are the most talented people in the Danyang sword sect, so you must leave alive. No, Xing Hui shook his head. Elder Gu Ku, with your strength, you won't be able to stop hundreds of well-equipped special forces for long. It is best for me to cover you. As he spoke, he flicked the sword in his hand. All of you retreat. You must leave safely with senior sister Ningxi. Junior brother Xing Hui, this matter has nothing to do with you. It is all my fault. Since I have made a mistake, I should bear the consequences. Jiang Ningxi said with a sorrowful expression. It is not your fault. You have never done anything wrong. Xing Hui looked at Jiang Ningxi. I believe that no one in the Eastern Sun Sword sect will blame you for killing those scumbags, even if a calamity befalls them because of this. But leave it to me. I'm the only one who can stop the pursuit of these soldiers. Me bringing up the rear is the best choice. Furthermore, my identity is different from all of you. You are all people of the pugilistic world, while I have a father who is sitting on the position of mayor and the influential Qing family behind me. They definitely won't dare to kill me. Really, you know that I will never lie to you. Jiang Ningxi looked at Xing Hui's youthful face, and her eyes gradually blurred. She suddenly stepped forward and hugged Xing Hui. Xing Hui, promise me that you will leave Mount Danyang alive and find me. Qing Su sniffed her body fragrance that was mixed with the faint smell of blood. He ran his left hand through the soft hair on her back and wrapped around her slender waist. He said cautiously, I promise you that I will leave the Eastern Sun Mountain alive and find you alive. I will wait for you. Jiang Ningxi said, as if she was making a promise. Then, she quickly put a purple gemstone necklace on Xing Hui. I will wait forever. Xing Hui knew that this necklace was her family heirloom. It was called Fortune. Go, Xing Hui said solemnly. Jiang Ningxi nodded forcefully. You must find me. With that, she suddenly turned around and walked toward a small cave not far from the heavenly tombstone wall. Gu Ku followed closely behind. Gu Ku, protect Ningxi. Seeing that Gu Ku was about to step into the cave, Xing Hui cautiously said, I owe the sect master a debt of gratitude. Unless I die, I will not let any harm come to the young sect master. Gu Ku said resolutely, Ningxi is too inexperienced. With you here, I can rest assured. Xing Hui looked outside the ancestral hall. I will do my best to prevent them from taking another step out of the ancestral hall. Xing Hui, Yi Qing Song, you won't stop because of your identity? The grudge of my son's death is irreconcilable. Gu Ku fell silent. Seeing that the approaching soldiers were about to appear in front of him, he suddenly took out an exquisite and mysterious porcelain bottle and handed it to Xing Hui. Take care. Then, he turned around and left. Ningxi, this time, I'm afraid I have to break the promise, Xing Hui murmured. Unfortunately, if he had not been impulsive, with his special supernatural ability, his achievements would not have stopped at Martial Dao Master. In the future, he might have even become a Martial Dao Grandmaster, or even a Martial Saint who was qualified to speak with the country's upper echelons. Hands up, don't move. At this time, many soldiers had already arrived and were quickly aiming at Xing Hui. The heavenly tome, stone wall. Xing Hui did not seem to notice. He looked up, and at the end of the cave, at the stone wall carved with a large number of mysterious words, or runes. These words and runes were densely packed and covered the entire cave, filling the interior of the cave with a mysterious and ancient aura. Damn it, there's a cave over there. Chase after it. Leave no one alive. I want to kill everyone in the Danyang sword sect. Yi Qing Song's angry voice came from behind him. Yi Qing Song, The only one in the Yi family who could be considered powerful and influential is you, right? As long as you, Yi Qing-song, are dead, only the head of the investigation department and a businessman are left. They shouldn't be able to mobilize the military power. Sing Hui turned his head, and his gaze fell on Yi Qing-song. Sing Hui, is it? Do you really think that I won't dare to kill you because you're from the Qing family? I like to see if the Qing family will fall out with me, a high-ranking official with real power for a fourth-generation disciple. Yi Qing-song's face was faintly ferocious. Kill me? You won't have the chance. Sing Hui's eyes suddenly became incomparably fierce as he spoke. The next moment, a powerful and terrifying force suddenly burst out from his body. Kill! Fire! Fire! Shoot him for me. Those who block me will die. Sing Hui let out a long roar. One man and one sword, like a stream of light, frantically dodged the rain of bullets and stabbed toward Yi Qing-song. Bang, bang, bang. Gunshots rang out. Sing Hui, who was focused on the necklace named Creation, did not notice that as the necklace named Creation was stained with his blood, his body was like a container, rapidly absorbing the purple gem on the necklace at the same time. A special energy dissipated as the necklace Creation shattered, like a shock wave sweeping through the entire cave. And then the runes on the stone walls of the cave that no one could understand quickly flashed, activated, and began to distort the void. On this day, a mysterious phenomenon appeared on Mount Danyang. It was said that an immortal array was born, distorting the void and turning everything within a 10-mile radius into dust. There were hundreds of Jianghu people and hundreds of soldiers on Mount Danyang. Except for a few martial Dao masters who sensed danger and fled as fast as they could before entering the Grandmaster Hall of the Danyang Sword Sect. No one was spared. They were all swallowed by the distorted space. For a time, the tragedy of Mount Danyang became one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in the Jianghu, spreading far and wide. Chapter 2. The Lorraine Kingdom, one of the countries in the Eastern Wilderness. The Yinhuang city was the largest city in the Lorraine Kingdom and was named for its proximity to the Yinhuang mountain range. In a remote courtyard of the Zhua family's property, Sing Hui slowly put down the book in his hand in a simple and elegant study. I finally translated it. No wonder no one could read the ancient divine text on the heavenly book stone wall of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. It's because those words weren't from Earth. Ancient divine wilderness. Modern Tianwang. The words on the heavenly bookstone wall came from this world, the world called Tianwang. My name is Dong Qian. I built my foundation at the age of 10, awakened my sword qi at the age of 20, and refined my sword aura at the age of 30. I felt that the lives of mortals are short, like mayflies in the water. No matter how great my martial arts are, I will eventually return to dust after 100 years. Since then, I have abandoned my sword and sealed my saber, traveling back and forth between famous mountains and great lakes in search of sacred beings. After more than 24 years, I received the inheritance of the Lord of Heaven, awakened the Hunyuan of the Divine Palace, and received the blessing of God. I condensed my sword qi in 60 years, formed my sword force in 100 years, formed my domain in 300 years, and shattered the vacuum in 1,000 years. Since then, I have roamed the heavens and lived for a long time. By chance, I entered the cave of the true God Jun and obtained a piece of divine jade, which is called creation. Unfortunately, I triggered the restriction of the divine palace, causing the heaven and earth to flip and the universe to reverse. Sing Hui finally understood the meaning of the words on the heavenly bookstone wall of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect after 3 days of reading and searching for information. It was an autobiography written by a powerful divine powers called Dong Qian. Apparently, he had activated the divine teleportation formation set up by Dong Qian due to the dissipation of energy when the divine jade creation formation shattered. He appeared in the Eastern Wilderness and was reborn in Zhua, Qingshu's body. All kinds of mysterious encounters were indescribably wonderful. Even though he had been reincarnated for 4 days, he was still amazed by the wonders of fate. Ningji, Tsing Hui whispered her name. No matter where he was on Earth, he would find a way to find her. But now, he actually came to a strange world that he had never heard of before, Heaven Wasteland. How far was the distance between the two worlds? I will go back. Dongxian can go to Earth, so can I. As long as I find true God, Jun's cave abode, I can borrow the power of the cave abode's divine formation to return to Earth. Tsing Hui's tone was slow but heavy. This promise must be kept. Pa, the door opened. A pretty girl in a white dress stepped into the room. Behind her, a woman dressed as a maid entered with medicine in her hands. Tsing Hui recognized this woman. Zhui Yinqing was Cho Tsing Hui's younger sister. She was a martial arts prodigy who had reached the 4th layer of the martial path at such a young age. She was one of the most outstanding disciples of the Zhua clan's younger generation. 4 days were enough for Tsing Hui to gather information about her. Drink the medicine. Zhui Yunqing's tone was hostile. Tsing Hui ignored the hostility in her voice and drank the medicine. Then, he circulated his blood qi according to the Dongyang sword sect's secret body tempering technique to digest the medicine and heal his injuries. I met Erishur Yudo on my way here. She has become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect. Seeing Tsing Hui drink the medicine, Zhui Yinqing snorted. Erishur Yudo. Tsing Hui remembered this name. His injuries were indirectly caused by Erishur Yudo. Erishur Yudo was adopted by her father, Cho Tsing Hui, when she was 10 years old. She was beautiful and delicate, and when she grew up, she became even more beautiful. Cho Tsing Hui was extremely infatuated with her. In order to win her favor, he did not hesitate to give her his cultivation resources. 30 days ago, Erishur Yudo hinted that if he was willing to steal the Zhua clan's token to become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect and give it to her, she would be willing to spend the rest of her life with him. Unexpectedly, when Cho Tsing Hui gave the token to Erishur Yudo left without a trace. He waited bitterly for 10 days, but when he returned home, he was exposed. His father was furious and ordered him to be beaten 100 times before being chased out of the house. After being chased out of the Zhua clan, he settled down in his courtyard in the northern part of the city to recuperate. He did not want the younger generation of the Zhua clan to hold a grudge against him for losing the opportunity to enter the Hunyuan heavenly sect. 6 days ago, they ambushed him and severely injured him. He was unconscious for 2 days before dying, and Tsing Hui was reborn. Understanding this, Tsing Hui was indifferent. What's wrong? You're the ace flower protector, but instead of running over to flatter her, you're acting so indifferent? What's the reason for that? Mother told me to bring you the best medicine. Although your injuries have not fully healed, it's not like you can't walk or move. Zhui Yinqing was unhappy. Although Tsing Hui was the clan leader's son, his cultivation base was average and he was criticized by the clan elders. As a result, he had never been able to become the true owner of the token. Therefore, as long as the token was not lost, any member of the Zhua clan could compete for the token to become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect. But now, because Tsing Hui had stolen the token, such a great opportunity had been given to someone else. Tsing Hui did not speak. He had not inherited the original Tsing Hui's complete memories and only had some fragmented information. He needed to be careful with his words and actions. Have you changed your personality? Or do you regret it now? It's too late. Do you know how precious the token of an inner sect disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect is? My Qing family was able to stand tall in the cloud-desolate city and occupy many mineral resources. If not for my aunt, who was cultivating in the Hunyuan heavenly sect, causing others to fear us, I'm afraid that we would have been swallowed up by many powerful people one by one. However, because of my aunt, many powerful people are eyeing us covetously, but do not dare to act rashly. Seeing that Tsing Hui did not speak, Zhui Yunqing's attitude softened, but his complexion did not improve. At this moment, a voice sounded from the courtyard. Is Tsing Hui here? Tsing Hui did not respond, But Zhui Yinqing was slightly taken aback. Then he flew into a rage and shouted, "Erisher Yudo, you still dare to come? How dare you? Little sister Yinqing, you're also here." A voice sounded from outside the door. Then 2 young girls walked into the room. The leader of the group was a woman wearing a checkered sky blue dress. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her eyes were as clear as water. Her fine black hair was draped over her shoulders, resting on her voluptuous chest, all the way to her waist, highlighting her slender waist. Her tall and slender figure made her even more elegant and luxurious, making others feel ashamed and not dare to profane her. As she stepped into the room, both Zhui Yinqing and her adorable maidservant, Yu Qing, were overshadowed by her. She was like a fairy in a painting and a village girl in the forest, completely different. It was no wonder that Xing Hui was so infatuated with her. "Don't call me little sister Yinqing. Humph, our Qing clan can't afford to have a relative like you," Zhui Yinqing said with disgust. "Impudent. You're just unruly citizens of a remote and desolate city. It's already your great fortune that senior sister Yutong is willing to talk to you. How dare you be so rude to her?" The girl behind Erisher Yudo immediately shouted. However, Erisher Yudo waved her hand. "You can't be rude. The Zhua clan has done me a favor. When I was young, I wandered the streets. Fortunately, the Zhua clan's patriarch took me in and raised me. That's how I got to where I am today. Little sister Yunqing's words are nothing. You also know that our Zhua clan has done you a favor. We saved your life, but this is how you repay us? You're trying your best to bewitch my brother Xing Hui and make him steal a Hunyuan heaven sect disciple token to ruin his future? Future?" Erisher Yudo looked at Zhui Yinqing and shook her head. The Hunyuan heaven sect is far from what you can imagine. As one of the 10 great sacred lands of the eastern wilderness, everyone who can enter the Hunyuan heaven sect is a genius. Even the 3 great experts of our Cloud Desolate City's younger generation are inferior to the Hunyuan heaven sect's outer sect disciples. Moreover, the competition between the inner and outer sect disciples in the Hunyuan heaven sect is extremely fierce, and many people have died. Believe me, with Xing Hui's cultivation talent, entering the Hunyuan heaven sect will only harm him. She tried her best to make her tone as sincere as possible as she said to Xing Hui, "It's true, Xing Hui. Believe me, I'm doing this for your own good. New book, please recommend, please collect." Chapter 3. For Xing Hui's sake? So I have to thank you for lying to him? Zhui Yinqing sneered. "That's right. You." Zhui Yinqing was furious. He pointed at Erisher Yudo and said, "If Xing Hui harmed him by going to the Hunyuan heaven sect, then you didn't?" Erisher Yudo nodded again. "That's right. You poor villagers have no idea what kind of talent senior sister Yutong has. Senior sister's talent was tested to be superior. Su Karen couldn't help but speak up, but Erisher Yudo waved her hand and interrupted her. "Karen, you can't say anything about this." Twisting words and forcing logic. "Erisher Yudo, I've never seen a woman as shameless as you in all my life." Lan Yutong glanced at the enraged Zhui Yinqing. Her fair, jade-like face was filled with faint disappointment. "Sister Yinqing, why must you do this? Why can't you understand my good intentions?" "Tui, good intentions? Your words make me want to vomit." The Zhua family's vision and knowledge are limited to the Cloud Wilderness. At best, they can break out of the Cloud Wilderness and look at the Lorraine Kingdom. A prominent kingdom is already the limit of what you and the Zhua family can see. But I'm different from you. I started cultivating at the age of 10, built my foundation at the age of 11, tempered my bones at the age of 12, changed my tendons at the age of 13, cleansed my marrow at the age of 14, and refined my organs at the age of 16. I only need one more step to reach the last step before I awaken my chi and reach the blood transformation stage. I'll become a martial grandmaster who can defeat an army of thousands. My stage is above the 9 heavens, and I'm destined to be glorious and live a long life. If you knew this, why didn't you give me the Hunyuan heaven sect's disciple token earlier? Why did you make me spend so much effort and make everyone unhappy. Right now, I, Arisher Yudo, am willing to renew our friendship. With me, an inner disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, protecting you, the Zhua family will have a meteoric rise in the future. Speaking of this, Arisher Yudo sighed. If Tsing goes to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he will only die a tragic death. If I go in his place, I will be able to succeed and make a name for myself, so why not? Why can't you understand such a simple principle? You ungrateful wretch. Do you think you're in the right after stealing from the Zhua family? Why would our Zhua family need the protection of an ingrate like you? Get out. I don't want to see you again. Zhua Yunqing said angrily as she pointed at the door. If not for the fact that she knew she was no match for Arisher Yudo, she would have already attacked. You have really disappointed me, Arisher Yudo said. Since you insist on drawing a clear line between us, then I can't force you. However, even if you can't be benevolent, I can't be unjust. This is a marrow-cleansing pill I obtained from the sect for Tsinghui. Once he reaches the perfect Tinin transformation stage, he can use this pill to cleanse his marrow. This pill is priceless in the Lorraine Kingdom. Treat it as my apology for taking away the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's token. Zhua Yunqing replied with gritted teeth, scram. Arisher Yudo didn't say anything. Instead, her gaze fell on Tsinghui. Leave the pill, Tsinghui said. Tsinghui, Zhua Yunqing panted in anger. I need this. Yes, a marrow-cleansing pill is clearly more suitable for you than a Hunyuan Heaven Sect disciple token. Tsinghui, I'm very happy that you can understand this. Arisher Yudo smiled faintly. She had brought Su Karen with her to deal with Cho Tsing Hui's harassment. She didn't want to, she didn't need to. Had Cho Tsing Hui's personality changed? You can leave. Tsing Hui's tone was indifferent. However, Arisher Yudo could understand Tsing Hui's indifference. Anyone would be disheartened if they encountered such a situation. Tsing Hui, I understand your feelings for me back then, and I'm very grateful for what you've done for me over the years. However, my future is in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Now that I've joined the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, I'm bound to shine like a phoenix in the 9 heavens. If you really love me, you should understand me, support me, and silently watch over me from behind and encourage me. This is true love. Tsing Hui frowned. Tsing Hui, don't hate me. Finally, I hope you can be happy. Arisher Yudo made herself sound sincere. Since the matter had been settled, she didn't want to stay any longer. She put down the pill and turned to leave. Tsing Hui, you're infuriating. You want what that woman gave you? You're so spineless. If I knew you were like this, I would have let Zhua Fengyun and Zhua Fenlei beat you to death. Tsing Hui glanced at Zhua Yunqing. If you don't like it, you can leave. You, Zhua Yunqing was about to speak when a figure quickly arrived at the remote courtyard. Miss? First young master? It's the second steward? Zhua Yunqing was surprised to see the middle-aged man. Although it had been a month, his father still seemed to be angry. Why would he send the second steward to Tsing Hui's courtyard? Miss, did Arisher Yudo come by just now? She did. She said she wanted to repay a debt of gratitude, but her tone was too disgusting. I chased her away. What's going on? Tell me. Zhua Yunqing immediately summarized the events that had just transpired. You took her marrow cleansing pill. I'm too late. When the middle-aged man heard that, he looked at Qing Su and immediately sighed. What's wrong? A month ago, the master sent a message to Miss Fei, telling her that the disciple token she requested from the family had been swindled. Miss Fei tried her best to stop them, but Arisher Yudo was too talented and had caught the eye of an elder. Miss Fei was powerless to stop her, so she could only make things difficult for her. She said that Arisher Yudo was adopted by the master and that he owed her a great debt of gratitude, but she had committed such a crime. But we didn't expect that Arisher Yudo would willingly come to the Zhua family and promise to protect the Zhua family to repay our kindness. Unfortunately, by the time we received the news, it was already too late. Miss Fei had promised to protect the Zhua family, but you rejected her. Moreover, The marrow-cleansing pill she gave us was also accepted by the first young master. So we're even now, the second steward frowned. That woman is too scheming. Miss Fei will definitely be disappointed in the Zhou family after this incident. I'm afraid that she won't be able to obtain a token from the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. Zhu Yinqing was dazed when he heard this. Things are so serious. Our Zhou family won't be able to send any more disciples to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? The second steward glanced at the silent Xinghui. The first young master's talent isn't bad, and he scored above average during the test. That's why Miss Fei gave his Zhou family an inner court disciple token. But in recent years, the first young master has secretly given many resources to Erishur Yudo, causing her cultivation to slow down. The master didn't want to embarrass Miss Fei, and the clan's grand elders prevented him from bringing up the matter of sending the first young master to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Who would have thought that such a great opportunity would benefit someone else? When he finished speaking, he looked at Xinghui with eyes full of disappointment. How could this be? Where's my aunt? Is she not going to do anything? The master won't have the face to ask Miss Fei for help after this incident. Sigh. I have to return as soon as possible and report this to the master. The second steward glanced coldly at Xinghui. First young master, this might be the last time I'll call you that. Take care of yourself. Zhu Yinqing was furious. He glared at Qing Su. So, this is the woman you've taken a fancy to? Hypocritical, disgusting, scheming, and ungrateful. It's fortunate that father was discerning back then and didn't agree to the two of you getting married. He followed the second steward. I'll go too. The two masters and one servant quickly left the courtyard. The courtyard quieted down once more. Xinghui didn't have a direct impression of the severity of the matter. The Hunyuan Heaven sect, a large-scale cultivation sect of this world? After a while, he flipped through the fragmented memories in his mind and some books in the study. Soon, he had a better understanding of this world's cultivation methods. Foundation establishment, bone tempering, tendon transformation, marrow cleansing, viscera tempering, and blood transformation. The sixth level of the mortal realm could allow one to roam freely in the mortal world. The books only recorded the sixth level of the immortal realm, the awakening realm. Once awakened, one's abilities would be limitless, and even the Lorraine Kingdom's king would have to treat them with respect. The awakening realm, Dongqian's sword qi awakening at the age of 20, referred to this realm. Other than that, he also mentioned the 5 realms of sword aura, essence condensation, sword force, domain, and crushing vacuum. He didn't know the meaning of these realms. Xinghui looked at it for a while and focused on the chaos technique that he had translated. The heavenly book stone wall of the Danyang sword sect had Dongqian's legends carved on it. Other than that, there was a technique that could open the chaos. Dongqian had soared to the heavens because of the chaos temple. If he wanted to go to earth like Dongqian, he had to go to the chaos temple. Chaos. Xinghui studied the technique to open the chaos temple. It wasn't difficult. He immediately focused and activated the technique to open the chaos temple. Chapter 4. Heaven and earth were still in chaos. In a trance, Xinghui felt as though his soul had returned to chaos. Endless mysteries were born in his heart. All of a sudden, his spirit leaped forward, and he had already appeared in a room paved with white jade. Everything around him was a vast expanse of white. At the same time, a message was injected into his mind. Chaos Temple, where chaos resides. Those who have obtained any Taoist rhyme can enter the temple and receive the blessing of chaos. Xinghui silently received the message from the Chaos Temple. Soon, a strange look appeared on his face. Interface, Xinghui said without thinking. Soon, an interface appeared in front of him. Dongqian. Chaos level. Level 20 required Taoist rhyme. 12100 cultivation level. Crushing vacuum. Unactivated. Attack level. 158. Unactivated. Defense level. 115. Unactivated. Speed level. 151. Unactivated. Spirit level. 159. unactivated, a simple interface. There were no treasures to exchange. You have noticed that the chaos technique is not compatible with your spirit. Please choose to leave or inherit. A clear voice echoed in Tsing Hui's ears. However, it seemed like he was the only one who could hear it. Inherit. Inherit what Qian left behind in the Chaos Temple? Tsing Hui mumbled to himself. It seemed like Dong Qian was referring to these when he said, "I will pass down my chaos to the next generation." Even his own chaos power was probably inherited from that heavenly lord. Tsing Hui looked at the interface. As he did not inherit it, he could not do anything. He could only flip through most of the items that could not be used or activated. Chaos level 20. This was rather interesting. When the accumulated Taoist rhyme reached the required number, the chaos level would increase. In the 5th and 10th levels, new special abilities would appear. These abilities were varied and had all sorts of strange effects. Dong Qian's Chaos level 20 had 10 special abilities and 10 special abilities. 6 of them were basic abilities, while the other 4 were new special abilities after the Chaos level increased. The 6 basic special effects were Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension Enhancement, Luck Enhancement, Talent Enhancement, Personal Space Opening, and Appraisal. The 4 new special effects were hard to imagine. They were Advancement Skill, which could upgrade equipment and pills by 1 level, Divine Protection Skill, which could forcefully refine pills that involved probability, Resurrection Skill, which could bring the dead back to life, and Holy Skill, which could temporarily increase one's cultivation by 1 level. Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension, and Luck were passive abilities. Advancement Skill, Divine Protection Skill, Resurrection, Appraisal, and Divine Protection Skill were active abilities. The empty space where Qing Su was right now was the personal space left behind by Dong Qian. Dong Qian's Chaos level 20 was Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension Enhancement, Golden Rock Bloodline Talent, Sword Dao Talent, Personal Space, Advancement Skill, Appraisal, and Resurrection Skill. Among the passive abilities, Comprehension level 8, Recovery level 3, Golden Rock Bloodline level 2, Sword Dao Talent level 1, Personal Space level 1, Advancement Skill level 2, Appraisal Skill level 2, and Resurrection Skill level 1. Qing Su took a closer look. The Tier 1 Resurrection had a cooldown of 100 years, which was basically equivalent to resurrecting a person every 100 years. It was basically useless. Meanwhile, the Tier 2 promotion had a cooldown of a year, which could upgrade equipment below Tier 2 by 1 tier. On the other hand, Appraisal only had a cooldown of 24 hours, which showed that different skills had different cooldowns. Dong Qian was able to cultivate Vacuum Crush because of the Chaos Temple's passive effect. Level 8 Comprehension Enhancement. Tsing Hui took a look. He had not inherited these yet. He could not use them. He did not want to waste time. Inherit. Inheriting will reduce Chaos level by half. Do you want to continue? Half. Inherit. Please select the item to keep. Tsing Hui took a look at the privileges. He could inherit Chaos level 10. Recovery Enhancement level 1. Personal Space level 1. Comprehension Enhancement level 4. The next 4 options, Tsing Hui was silent for a moment. The strong would get stronger. His talent was in swordsmanship. In that case, his Sword Dao Talent level 2. As for the last 2 options, Tsing Hui chose Divine Skill and Appraisal Skill. Appraisal Skill could help him know his enemy. Divine Skill could increase his cultivation level by 1 level at a critical moment. It could be used in a life and death battle. Buzz buzz. As Tsing Hui chose to inherit, a slight tremor suddenly swept through his body. When the shock dispersed, he clearly felt that his thoughts had become clearer and his comprehension of swordsmanship had improved as well. There were even 2 secret techniques faintly in his mind. Once he activated them, one would allow him to see through everything, and the other would allow him to receive the support of chaotic divine energy, causing his cultivation to skyrocket. Amazing, Tsing Hui muttered to himself. At the same time, he took a look at his attributes. Tsing Hui, Chaos level, Level 10 Recovery level 1, Comprehension level 4, Space level 1, Sword Dao Talent level 2, Divine Skill level 1, Appraisal Skill level 1. Required Taoist rhymes. 6/100 cultivation level. 10 changing attack level. 10 defense level. 10 speed level. 10 spirit level. 31-inch discovered Tao item. Do you want to integrate it? Just as Tsing Hui was about to stop the chaos technique and leave, the Chaos Temple's voice sounded. Tao item can only be nurtured by top-notch treasures. It contains Taoist rhymes and is extremely difficult to obtain. Do I have one? Tsing Hui looked at it for a moment. Following the Chaos Temple's guidance, he focused his attention on his sea of consciousness. There was a piece of divine jade. The divine jade was like an inanimate object, but it was absorbing an unknown aura from the outside world. It was slowly condensing to repair itself. The Taoist rhymes that the Chaos Temple was referring to were the unknown aura that the divine jade had absorbed over the past few days. This divine jade was left behind by Ningxi. It is also the creation divine jade that Dongqian obtained from the true god Jun's cave abode. Tsing Hui did not understand why this piece of divine jade would reside in his sea of consciousness. He could not figure out. Let's not think about it for now. If transmigration and reincarnation could happen, how could it not happen? 4 Taoist rhymes. Tsing Hui looked at it for a moment and chose to integrate it. Instantly, the divine jade's creation divine jade dimmed. The unknown aura that had accumulated over the past 4 days dissipated. Tsing Hui's Taoist rhymes increased by 4 points. After integrating all the unknown aura, the creation divine jade paused for a moment. Then, it slowly absorbed the unknown aura from an unknown source at this rate. In another 4 days, it should be able to condense the same amount of Taoist rhymes. For days, Tsing Hui's reaction was extremely fast. Hadn't it been 4 days since he came to this world? 4 days for Taoist rhymes. 1 Tao per day. If this divine jade was so magical, why had Dongqian not mentioned it before? Or Dongqian did not activate the creation divine jade and thus did not know? Tsing Hui looked at the creation divine jade in his sea of consciousness. After a long time, he retracted his consciousness. If he could not figure it out, he would not think about it. It was a good thing to have such an unexpected gain. 1 Tao rhyme per day. In another 94 days, the level of chaos would increase again. After that, every 100 days, the level of chaos would increase by 1. After retracting his consciousness, Tsing Hui stopped visualizing the Chaos Divine Palace. Instantly, the Chaos Divine Palace shook and dissipated, returning to Mount Sumeru. As for him, he opened his eyes again. The moment he opened his eyes, his body was filled with qi and blood. The feeling of energy surged into his heart. The injuries on his body that had already recovered were instantly healed. This special effect recovery. My injuries are all healed. Should I try to see if I can recover the swordsmanship that belonged to me? Sword Saint Tsing Hui. This book is not infinite flow, not infinite flow, not infinite flow. Important things must be said thrice. Chapter 5. In the courtyard, Tsing Hui held his sword as it flashed with sword light. By chance, he saw Jiang Ningxi practicing the sword and was shocked by her miraculous performance. He followed her into the Dongyang sword sect to cultivate for 6 years. Due to his outstanding talent and perception, he surpassed her and became a martial Dao master before Jiang Ningxi. Furthermore, because he defeated 10 experts from China with a single sword, he was crowned as the Sword Sage and became an outstanding talent among the younger generation of the pugilistic world. Now that he was cultivating swordsmanship again, and the Chaos Shrine had increased his perception by 4 levels. With his talent in swordsmanship, many swordsmanship became easy for him. Often, he would understand the mysteries of swordsmanship that he couldn't comprehend. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sharp sword in Tsing Hui's hand turned into a dazzling sword shadow. The sword moved with the wind, and the wind followed the sword. In his hands, the high-grade Shaoyang sword technique was as profound as a peerless sword technique. After a moment, he understood something and retracted his sword. After standing in silence for an hour, a soft rumble came from his body. The blood in his body also emitted a sound similar to flowing water. The sound gradually became louder and clearer. As Sing Hui's body suddenly trembled, a force seemed to burst out from his bone marrow. Marrow cleansing, success. Without the help of the marrow cleansing pill, there was no joy on Sing Hui's face when he broke through to the marrow cleansing realm. He was a martial Dao master in China, and the realm of a martial Dao master was similar to the marrow cleansing realm of this world. It was even slightly stronger. With the enhanced perception of 4 levels, it wasn't surprising that he could push his body from the late stage of the tendon transformation realm to the marrow cleansing realm by 2 small realms. Following that, he focused and quietly comprehended the cultivation system of this world. Currently, his cultivation had reached the marrow cleansing realm, the 4th stage of the mortal realm. After that, there were still the viscera refinement and blood transformation realms. After completing these 2 realms, his body's potential would be unleashed to the extreme. He needed to awaken his bloodline talent and activate his true chi to possess extraordinary powers. In the Cloud Desolate City and even the Lorraine Kingdom, those at the marrow cleansing realm could be considered experts. As for those at the viscera refinement realm, they could be called elders or doyens in any family or faction. Ordinary sect masters of the pugilistic world were also at this realm. As for those at the blood transformation realm, they were called grandmasters. Their strength was tyrannical, and it was not difficult for them to split open the land and be conferred the title of Marquis. The Zhua family was the #1 family in the Cloud Desolate City, but they did not have a new grandmaster in charge. They completely relied on Nailan Fei, who was in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, to intimidate the other forces in the Cloud Desolate City. The limits of the human body. In the Jianghu of China, the martial Dao master is also known as the limits of the human body. Beyond, that is the end of the path of cultivation. One needs to break through their own limits, transcend mortality, and ascend to the realm of martial sage. In Sing Hui's mind, the Eastern Sun Sword Manual of the Eastern Sun Sword sect and the longevity formula of the Qin clan flashed across his mind. The enhancement of stage 4 enlightenment allowed him to quickly distinguish the pros and cons of the 2 cultivation techniques. In terms of continuity, the longevity formula was better than the Eastern Sun Sword Manual. In addition, this body had cultivated the longevity formula since young, so it was more suitable for the longevity formula. As for the Eastern Sun Sword Manual, he could only choose some special techniques to supplement it. While Tsing Hui was slightly distracted, he unexpectedly realized that the energy and stamina he had expended to break through to the marrow cleansing realm had recovered quite a bit. Could it be, apart from healing injuries, the recovery characteristic could also restore stamina and energy? Tap! Tap! Just as Tsing Hui was about to enter the Chaos Temple to ponder over it, a series of hurried footsteps quickly sounded from outside the courtyard. Immediately after, Zhui Yunqing, who had been away for half a day, rushed into the courtyard. Tsing Hui, quickly leave the Cloud Desolate City and seek refuge with my aunt in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Father already knows about what happened this morning. In addition to the pressure from the clan's elders, Father had no choice but to order someone to capture you. After a trial, your ancestral records will be removed. This is not just a simple expulsion from the family. Once your ancestral records are removed, you will no longer be a member of our Zhua family. When that time comes, my ancestral records will be removed. Tsing Hui's expression did not change much. After all, he was not the original Cho Tsing Hui. He did not have much affection for the Zhua family. Removing his ancestral records would not affect him in any way. What are you still standing there for? Quickly pack your things and go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect immediately. Let my aunt plead on your behalf. If she asks, Father and the clan elders will not dare to disobey. You can even hide at my aunt's place as a servant for a few years and return after you have cultivated your skills. Upon seeing the indifferent Tsing Hui, Zhui Yunqing immediately turned anxious and pulled him into the courtyard. Since I can't stay in the cloud desolate city any longer, I won't stay for the time being. There's nothing to pack anyway, Sing Hui said. With his marrow-cleansing realm cultivation, he could live an easy life anywhere in the Lorraine Kingdom. He did not need to worry about his livelihood. Yes, time is of the essence. It's fine if you don't pack. I have 300 taels of silver in my hand. I've saved them all over the years. Take them and use them for your travel expenses. Although Zhui Yunqing had previously mocked and ridiculed Sing Hui, they were still from the same mother. Her scolding was because she expected better from him. Now that Sing Hui was in danger, it was because of her true feelings. There's no need. I told you to take it, so just take it. Cut the crap. Zhui Yunqing stuffed the silver into Sing Hui's arms and pulled him along. Let's go quickly. It will be too late when the clan members arrive. With that said, she pulled him out of the courtyard. However, just as the two of them arrived outside the courtyard, 3 people intercepted them at the intersection. When they saw the two of them, they sneered from afar. Sister Yunqing, Sing Hui, where are the two of you going? The clan elders asked me to bring you back. Zhua Fengyun, Zhua Fenglei, Zhua Xiangdong. Zhui Yunqing's expression changed at the sight of the 3 people. Sing Hui, leave quickly. You can't let them strip you of your identity. I'll stop them. You think too highly of yourself if you stop me, Sister Yunqing. You've only reached the marrow-cleansing realm less than a year ago, right? As for me, I've been in the marrow-cleansing realm for 3 years and even have a chance of refining my organs. Why do you have to stop me? The leader of the 3, Zhua Fengyun, sneered. He then turned to Sing Hui with hatred in his eyes and gritted his teeth. I'm the #1 expert of the Zhua family's younger generation. If you hadn't stolen the token, I would have been the one to become a disciple of the Hunyuan heaven sect. It's all because of you. You've ruined my opportunity and cut off my vast future. Sing Hui, previously, I only dared to secretly punish you because you were the clan leader's son. I didn't dare to kill you, but you'll soon be stripped of your identity. You'll no longer be a member of the Awa family. When that time comes, I'll kill you. Sing Hui, leave quickly, Zhui Yunqing hurriedly shouted when he heard the hatred in Zhua Fengyun's voice. Leave. Do you think you can leave? Catch him. A sinister smile surfaced in Zhua Fengyun's eyes as he waved his hand at Zhua Fenglei and Zhua Xiangdong. Clang! Just as Zhua Fenglei and Zhua Xiangdong were about to charge at Sing Hui, Zhui Yunqing unsheathed her sword. Stop right there. When Zhua Fengyun saw that Zhui Yunqing dared to block them with her sword, a trace of delight flashed across his eyes. His sharp sword also left its sheath. Zhui Yunqing, how dare you draw your sword against your own clan? Even if I heavily injure you, it'll be self-defense. Even your father won't be able to protect you. Die. Sing Hui, I'll stop them. Leave quickly. Zhui Yunqing shouted as she brazenly charged at Zhua Fengyun. However, contrary to Zhui Yunqing's expectations, Zhui Qingshu didn't take advantage of the fact that she was blocking Zhua Fengyun and the others to leave. Instead, he stepped forward and asked, "Were you the one who injured me 4 days ago?" Chapter 6. On the main street not far from the alley where Sing Hui lived, the famous young genius of the cloud desolate city, Jingo, was entertaining Erisher Yudo. Accompanying him were Jingo's sister Jinlan, the Fong family's first young master Fong Yu, the second young Miss Fong Long, and the Fong family's second young master Fong Tsuge. A month ago, Jingo, Fong Yu, and Fong Tsuge were the most outstanding young geniuses of the cloud desolate city, just like Erisher Yudo. At this very moment, the 3 of them were still dominating a mortal city, but Erisher Yudo had already become a disciple of the Hunyuan heaven sect, one of the 10 great sacred sects of the Tianwan continent. She was on equal footing with the patriarchs and elders of the Jin, Fong, and Fong families behind them. A group of 7 people sat in a restaurant and drank. The conflict in the alley naturally attracted the attention of some people. Isn't that the Zhua family? Fong Long curiously glanced in that direction. The Zhua family's presentable Zhua Fengyun, Zhua Fenglei, and Zhui Yunqing are all here. And that useless Zhua family's eldest son, Cho Tsinghui? At the mention of Cho Tsinghui, Fong Long secretly glanced at Erasure Yudo. Erasure Yudo had relied on Cho Tsinghui's infatuation with her to climb up the ranks and become a direct disciple of the Hunyuan heaven sect. Cho Tsinghui was useless because he had given all his cultivation resources to Erasure Yudo. Without resources, he was still able to reach the Tenden's transformation stage at the age of 22. It was clear that his talent was extraordinary. However, in front of Erasure Yudo, the number one genius of the Cloud Desolate region, who could be called a grandmaster, he seemed to fade into the crowd. If it weren't for their relationship with the Hunyuan heaven sect, the Zhua family wouldn't even be considered anything. How could the Zhua family have a chance to occupy the high-quality mines and resources outside the city? Although they have Zhua Fengyun among the younger generation, they're still far from being able to rise to prominence. Jingo flicked the non-existent dust off his sleeves and said indifferently, Zhua Fengyun has reached the marrow cleansing realm, but with his progress, it's unknown how long it will take for him to reach the organ's refinement realm. He naturally can't compare to Brother Jingo, who has already tempered 3 of his organs. Feng Xiuangue smiled. I've only tempered 3 of my organs, but Miss Yutong has already completed the organ's refinement stage. She only needs to find an opportunity to awaken her bloodline and refine her essence blood. Compared to Miss Yutong, my insignificant achievements are not worth mentioning. Young Master Jingo is only 26 years old and has already reached the organ's refinement stage. Such strength can be considered outstanding even in the Hunyuan heaven sect's outer sect. If young Master Jingo is fortunate enough to enter the Hunyuan heaven sect and pass the outer sect assessment, you may be able to create a bright future for yourself. Erasure Yudo's pretty little face carried a refreshing smile. Her words also made one feel incomparably comfortable. The Hunyuan heaven sect. The Hunyuan heaven sect recruits disciples once every 5 years, and any young practitioner under the age of 30 can enter. The next time will be a year later, right? At that time, I will definitely go. I don't hope to become an inner sect disciple or even an elder's personal disciple like Miss Yutong, but I must obtain an outer sect disciple spot. Jingo's eyes flickered with confidence. Lan Yutong smiled faintly. Surin looked him up and down a few times. With your strength, you're only passable as an outer court disciple. But if you want to become an inner court disciple, you either have outstanding cultivation talent, or you've cultivated your viscera and changed your blood before the age of 30. Otherwise, if you miss this opportunity, you'll have no hope of stepping into the inner court in this lifetime. They're fighting. Jean Lan's gaze suddenly fell on the alley. The Zhua family doesn't have much ability to outsiders and only rely on Nail and Fei's name to swindle people. But when it comes to internal strife, it is said that the elders and clan leader of the family scheme against each other every day. If the family is not united, how can there be any development? Feng Yu said disdainfully. Without a capable blood transformation grandmaster overseeing the situation, they naturally have their own factions. Jingo's expression was indifferent, and his gaze fell on Tsinghui, who was holding a sword. It seems that Cho Tsinghui wants to fight. Zhua Fengyun, Zhua Fenglei, and Zhua Xiangyang. Except for Zhua Xiangyang, who can he beat? 4 days ago, Zhua Fenglei taught him a lesson. This Cho Tsinghui is the legitimate son of the Zhua family. I have never really seen him fight. How about we go down and join the fun? Feng Yu said. That's what I was thinking. Feng Xiuangue laughed. A guest should follow the host's wishes. Erasure Yudo nodded slightly. The person who injured me 4 days ago, was you? Yes, it was me. What? Cho Tsinghui, you seem to be a little unconvinced. If you're not convinced, then hit me. Zhua Fenglei stepped forward and stared at Cho Tsinghui, his eyes full of provocation. You're not here to take me to the family, are you? You're just saying this to force us and then attack us on the grounds of self-defense? Tsinghui's words made Zhua Yinxing slightly stunned, and then her face suddenly turned ugly. Her father Zhuashiri was the patriarch of the Zhua family, and Cho Tsinghui was the legitimate son of the patriarch. If the family really wanted to arrest him, at least the law enforcement elders would come in person. Why would they let 3 juniors come forward? She was too anxious just now, and for a moment she was careless and took the initiative to attack, giving them a reason to attack. You're quite quick-witted. I thought you were an idiot who was immersed in women's charms. However, even if you understand our purpose, so what? Don't tell me you dare to. Pa! Before Zhuo Fenglei could finish his provocative words, Xing Hui had already attacked. With a slight flip of the sword in his hand, he slapped Zhuo Fenglei's left cheek at an inconceivable angle and speed. The tremendous force sent him flying, and he crashed to the ground in an instant. Before he could get up, he opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of broken teeth mixed with fresh blood. Ugh. Zhuo Fenglei was dazed by Xing Hui's strike. Although he had provoked him verbally, he had been carefully guarding against Xing Hui's angry sneak attack. However, when Xing Hui really struck him with the sword, he couldn't react at all. He could only watch as he was sent flying. However, he only treated it as a moment of carelessness, allowing him to suffer such humiliation. His teeth were shattered by the green ruined sword. He immediately crawled to his feet and roared out furiously, "You bastard, I'm going to kill you, whoosh!" Xing Hui suddenly moved forward, and the sharp sword in his hand struck again at an unbelievable angle. Before Zhuo Fenglei could finish his words, he was hit by the sharp sword again. Pa! Zhuo Fenglei, who had just gotten up, was hit on the right cheek again. The huge force sent him crashing to the ground again, and blood filled his mouth. Continue. I like to see if ivory can come out of your filthy mouth. Xing Hui stood in front of Zhuo Fenglei and said calmly, "You, Zhuo Xiangyang, what are you waiting for? Both of you attack together." On one side, Zhuo Hunyuan immediately roared out furiously when he saw how pathetic Zhuo Fenglei was, being knocked to the ground by the 2 strikes of the green ruined sword. Zhuo Xiangyang quivered and suddenly came to his senses. He unsheathed the sword in his hand and said, "Xing Hui, how dare you do such a cruel thing to a fellow tribesman? We pa!" Xing Hui suddenly turned around, and the sharp sword in his hand struck out at a 180-degree angle. Although Zhuo Xiangyang could clearly see the trajectory of the sword, he could only watch helplessly as the sword struck him. He immediately followed in Zhuo Fenglei's footsteps and was sent flying back. He spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with shattered teeth. Your strength has entered your bone marrow. You have cultivated to the marrow-cleansing realm? At that moment, Zhuo Fengyuan finally looked at Xing Hui seriously. From his performance, he could immediately tell his true strength. Xing Hui ignored Zhuo Fengyuan. Instead, he stared at Zhuo Fenglei, whose eyes were filled with fear. Get up. Continue. Chapter 7. Xing Hui has broken through to the marrow-cleansing stage. Fanyu, who had just come downstairs, was surprised to see Xing Hui easily defeat Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang. What's so strange about that? In order to repay the Zhuo clan's patriarch for raising her, senior sister specially asked for a marrow-cleansing pill and gave it to Xing Hui to settle the score. With a pill personally refined by an elder of the Hunyuan heaven sect, even a pig can reach the marrow-cleansing stage, let alone a person. The marrow-cleansing pill is such a rare treasure. No wonder he can break through to the marrow-cleansing stage. I didn't expect Miss Yutong to have such a treasure. Jean Go's eyes glowed. Su Karen glanced at him as if he was looking at a country bumpkin. Including the Lorraine Kingdom, more than 90% of the precious pills in the 24 countries were distributed by the Hunyuan heaven sect. Elder Zhuri has awakened the flame bird bloodline, cultivated the vermilion bird true technique, and obtained the essence of the profound flame. He is proficient in the Tao of alchemy. As his disciple, senior sister Yutong can easily ask for the more precious 5 Qi origin pill and essence dragon pill, let alone the marrow cleansing pill. An elder skilled in the Tao of alchemy, Jean Go, who wanted to curry favor with Erishur Yutong, a disciple of the Hunyuan heaven sect, inwardly sucked in a breath of cold air. Cho Xing Hui's sword skills are exquisite. Without the advantage of cultivation, Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang can't defeat Cho Xing Hui. Feng Kugi was surprised. He didn't know Tsing Hui had such ability. Jin Go recalled that Erishur Yutong and the Zhua clan had fallen out. In the past month, the Zhua clan had slandered her name. Presumably, Erishur Yutong was unhappy. She had received the Zhua clan's favor in the past, so it wasn't appropriate for her to do anything to avoid being called ungrateful. However, the Zhua Fenglei and Zhua Xiangyang have some friendship with us. Now that they're in trouble, I'll go up and see if I can help. Jingo said with a smile and stepped forward. Fan Yu was slightly startled, but he immediately understood Jingo's intention. I was drinking with Zhua Fengyin 3 days ago. I'll go join the fun. Immediately, the two of them walked quickly toward Zhua Fengyin. They were dozens of meters away from him when they spoke first. Zhua Fengyin, are you in trouble? Do you need my help? Zhua Fengyun's eyes lit up when he saw Jin Wu and Fan Yu. He glanced past the two of them and Lan Yutong, who had appeared at the entrance of the alleyway. He immediately understood why the two of them were willing to help. He immediately said, "You've come at just the right time. This kid has committed a great crime. We were just about to capture him and bring him back to the clan for the elders to deal with, but we never thought his cultivation would suddenly increase. We're actually unable to do anything to him right now. Please help me capture him. I, Zhua Fengyun, will be eternally grateful. Zhua Fengyun, you dare to work with outsiders to humiliate our Zhua clan." Zhua Fengyun, who was standing in front of Zhua Fengyun, rebuked angrily. "Zhua clan?" Zhua Fengyun glanced at Tsing Hui. "What I see is not a member of our Zhua clan, but a criminal whose ancestral records have already been expunged. We need to capture him and bring him to be judged. Haha, even though we don't know what happened, since Brother Zhua Fengyun is in trouble, as friends, let's take care of him first. Brother Jingo, rest at the side. I alone am enough to deal with a mere Cho Tsing Hui." Fan Yu laughed loudly. Eager to show off, he instantly pounced on Tsing Hui. "I heard that you were the eldest son of the Zhua clan's direct line of descent. Let me see how capable you, the successor of the Zhua clan's next generation, are. Take my 12 forms of the roaming dragon. Tsing Hui, be careful. Fan Yu's strength has already reached the bone marrow 3 years ago. The 12 forms of the roaming dragon is a superior battle technique. It's even stronger than our Zhua clan's greenwood sword art. Hurry up and leave." Zhui Yunqing hurriedly shouted. "Leave? Haha, there are only 2 exits in this alley. Where do you plan to go? Little Zhua girl, I think you and your brother should obediently follow Zhua Fengyun and the other 2 back home to receive your punishment." Jingo chuckled and moved to block Tsing Hui's escape route. If Tsing Hui really wanted to escape, he would have to pass through this viscera refining expert. Just as Zhui Yunqing was feeling shocked, angry, and anxious, a familiar voice resounded in the air above the small alley. "Ha! Using the 12 forms of the roaming dragon, Yufeng's outcome was no different from that of Zhua Fenglei and Zhua Xiangyang. He was directly sent flying by Tsing Hui's sword. His body flew back at a speed no slower than when he had left and crashed to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. That's it." Tsing Hui glanced at Yufeng. That gaze, it was as if he was speechless at Yufeng's eagerness to jump up and be beaten up. Yufeng's face instantly turned blood red. Being sent flying in front of Erishur Yudo, Jin Lan, and even his sister Feng Long, and being hit on the cheek in such a humiliating manner, Yufeng was so embarrassed that he almost went crazy. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." Clang! The sword hanging at his waist was suddenly unsheathed. The roaming dragon sword technique, which contained a biting, cold, killing intent, suddenly exploded from his hand. It swept up an eerie chill and stabbed towards Tsing Hui's heart. Seeing this, Jingo's eyes flashed, but he did not stop it. Instead, he stared at Tsing Hui with a serious expression, waiting to see how he would react. Again and again. Again and again. Even though Jingo had looked down on Tsing Hui before, he was also full of caution at this moment. "Swords are not used like this," Tsing Hui said calmly. "4th-level comprehension and 2nd-level sword talent. This caused Zhua Fenglei, Zhua Xiangyang, and even Feng Yu's swordsmanship, which was not bad, to be full of flaws in front of him. He did not even need to test the waters. When Feng Yu's sword was stabbing towards his heart, the sharp sword in his hand had already blocked it. Bang! The swords clashed. Xing Hui's right hand shook slightly, and with the help of the rebounding force, the sword in his hand blocked the next change of Feng Yu's roaming dragon sword technique. Along with the sound of the swords clashing for the second time, Feng Yu's roaming dragon sword technique was exhausted. On the other hand, Xing Hui took advantage of the rebounding force when he blocked the sword to turn the tip of his sword, and the cold, gleaming sword once again slapped Feng Yu's face, making close contact with his right cheek that had not yet swollen. Pa! As usual, the young master of the Feng family was once again slapped away and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of broken teeth mixed with blood. This time, the young master of the Feng family was awakened. The same result twice in a row, coupled with the burning pain on both sides of his face, reminded him of the fact that the gap between him and Xing Hui was too big. Thinking of his clamor just now and how he was defeated by Xing Hui in front of Erasure Yudo and the others, Feng Yu wished he could tear a hole in the ground and crawl into it. After knocking away Feng Yu, Xing Hui indifferently came to Zhuo Fenglei. Suddenly, Zhuo Fenglei shouted in horror, "What do you want to do?" "Let me tell you, my grandfather is one of the elders in the family, in charge of the family." "Ah, Chi!" Zhuo Fenglei was halfway through his words when a shrill scream came out of his mouth. His right wrist was pierced by Xing Hui's sword, and blood flowed out. "Stop! What are you doing?" Seeing Xing Hui's heavy hand, Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Xiangyang roared in anger. Even Zhuo Yunxing jumped in fright. "Xing Hui, you!" Xing Hui didn't reply. He pierced Zhuo Fenglei's wrist with his sword and didn't stop. Instead, he stabbed at Zhuo Fenglei's calf. "Stop! I told you to stop." Zhuo Fengyun was instantly enraged. Taking advantage of Zhuo Yunxing's shock, he suddenly shot out and broke away from her obstruction. He stabbed with his sword, fully displaying the strength and swordsmanship of a peak marrow cleansing cultivator. "Cho Xing Hui, how dare you use such a vicious move? Cripple one of Fenglei's arms. This time, even your father can't protect you. Die." "Vicious move." Xing Hui's expression turned cold. "This is called vicious move?" After all, the real Cho Xing Hui had been beaten to death by them 4 days ago. Compared to the death of Cho Xing Hui, crippling Zhuo Fenglei's arms was nothing. Chapter 8. Who would have thought that even Brother Feng Yu couldn't do anything to Cho Xing Hui? Feng Xiyuan Gui's expression was ugly. His strength was on par with Feng Yu's. If Xing Hui could easily defeat Feng Yu, he could naturally defeat him as well. Zhuo Fengyun is obviously not a match for Cho Xing Hui alone. To prevent Cho Xing Hui from attacking Zhuo Fengyun again and causing him to be banished from the Zhuo family, junior sister Su, please make a move this time. Erasure Yudo looked at the battlefield and said indifferently, "All right, I've long disliked this brat. He should take a look in the mirror and see what kind of person he is. How dare he chase after you like a toad, lusting after a swan? I'll make him understand how big the gap between you and him is." Su Karen revealed an excited smile on her face. "Haha, there's no need for senior sister Su to make a move. It's just Cho Xing Hui. I alone am enough to deal with him." Jingo saw that Su Karen had stepped forward. He did not want to miss the opportunity to show off. He laughed loudly and ignored the fact that Xing Hui was fighting with Zhuo Fengyun. He shouted brazenly, "Cho Xing Hui, your methods are so vicious. No wonder the Zhuo family wants to get rid of you. It's best that you obediently accept your captivity and be brought to the Zhuo family to receive your punishment. Is there no end to this?" Cho Xing Hui relied on the mysterious sword techniques of China's sword sage, Xing Hui, to easily defeat Zhuo Fenglei and Feng Yu. However, his cultivation base was only at the initial stage of marrow cleansing. His advantage against Zhuo Fengyun, who was already at the peak of marrow cleansing, was greatly reduced. On top of that, Jingo, who had cultivated his lungs, was in a dire situation. Flowing gold quake, Jingo let out a low roar. As he exerted all his strength, A roaring sound of water seemed to ring out from within his body. He, who had refined his internal organs, was like a ferocious beast that had suddenly erupted, bringing along a suffocating pressure as he pounced forward. As he slashed down with his sword, the air waves in the air actually produced a slight tremor. This sword actually seemed to tear apart the air. Bang! Sing Hui reacted quickly. Blocking the sword horizontally, he easily blocked the trajectory of the sword completely. But he had underestimated the power of a viscera, refining experts 5 viscera and 6 bowels. Following the explosion, Sing Hui's expression suddenly changed. A series of bone-cracking sounds rolled up from his wrist to his shoulder. The terrifying force from the explosion almost broke his entire arm. Buzz! At this critical moment, Sing Hui used the Dongyang sword sect's qi and blood force technique to adjust his strength. He instantly absorbed the vibrating force into his body and then stepped on the ground. As the solid bluestone floor was crushed, he took 6 steps back and lost all feeling in his right hand that was holding the sword. Good chance. Zhuo Fingyun's eyes flashed as he saw through Sing Hui's abnormality. The sword in his hand whistled as it pierced through the air. In an instant, the sword arrived in front of Sing Hui. The tip of the sword went straight for his heart. Kill. Just based on the fact that Sing Hui had killed Zhuo Fenglei, he dared to kill him. Sing Hui's eyes became as sharp as the coldest winter. Facing Zhuo Fengyun's sword, which was as fast as lightning, he only had enough time to tilt his body and let the sword cut through his chest. However, his left hand met Zhuo Fengyun's sword as he tilted his body. Using his fingers as a sword, he fiercely pointed it at Zhuo Fengyun's chest. Crack! The sound of bones shattering echoed clearly. There was the sound of Sing Hui's finger bones shattering, but more than that, there was the sound of Zhuo Fengyun's ribs shattering. Not only that, the strength of the finger pierced through Zhuo Fengyun's body and fiercely hit his heart. Although it did not shatter his heart, it caused his body to shake violently. It was as if all the strength in his body had been sucked out. Eastern Sun Sword Sect's Meridian Severing Technique. After using the Meridian Severing Technique to suppress Zhuo Fengyun, Sing Hui's right hand, which had faintly recovered a bit of feeling, suddenly lifted. Zhuo Fengyun's right hand, which had stabbed out with his sword, was cut by the sword. Stop! Rip! Shouts and screams resounded through the alley at the same time. Zhuo Fengyun, the #1 expert of the younger generation of the Zhuo family, had half an arm cut off by Sing Hui's sword. Blood spurted out from the upper half of his arm and splattered all over the ground. Bastard! Seeing that Zhuo Fengyun had been heavily injured even with his help, Jingo suddenly felt that he had lost a lot of face. With a roar, the sharp sword in his hand vibrated again, brazenly chopping down. However, Sing Hui had already understood the strength of a viscera refinement expert's physique. Facing Jingo's sword, he flew backwards. His level 2 sword talent had instantly seen through most of the characteristics of this sword technique. Without waiting for Jingo to launch another attack, his figure had already paused, and then switched from defense to offense. Bang! 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 The sound of metal clashing instantly rang out. Sing Hui, who had switched from defense to offense, had actually borrowed the strength of a storm of attacks, not giving Jingo any time to charge up and explode, completely suppressing his arrogance. How is this possible? Big Brother Jingo has already started to temper his internal organs and stepped into the viscera refinement realm. Jingo's sister saw her brother, who was unhindered in the younger generation of the Cloud Desolate City, being suppressed by Sing Hui, and was immediately dumbfounded. Junior Sister Su, what are you waiting for? Why aren't you helping young Master Jingo take down Cho Sing Hui? Zhuo Fengyun's injuries won't take long. Erishur Yudo said coldly from the side. Her starry eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Cho Sing Hui, who had always followed behind her like a lapdog, had suddenly displayed such terrifying potential. This made her feel uneasy. Only she knew how she treated Cho Sing Hui back then. It was just that at that time, Cho Tsing-hui was incomparably infatuated with her, and was almost willing to be beaten, scolded, and begged. However, the reunion in the morning had already made her understand that Cho Tsing-hui was no longer the Cho Tsing-hui who listened to her every word. This was the eldest son of the Zhuo family's direct descendant, who was valued by the Hunyuan heavenly sect's genius disciple, Nailan Fei, when he was 12 years old. Once he was no longer dispirited, the talent that erupted from his accumulation was still enough to overshadow any young genius in the cloud-desolate city. Yes, sir. Su Karen, who was urged by Erasure Yudo, felt a chill in her heart and hurriedly agreed. She was only an outer court disciple, and only by being valued by Erasure Yudo, who had a limitless future, would she have a chance of entering the inner court or even becoming a true disciple. Now that she had heard the deep meaning in Erasure Yudo's tone, she did not dare to be negligent. Swish! Leaping forward, Erasure Yudo directly attacked Tsing-hui. Stop, what are you doing? Bullying with numbers? Zhui Yinqing had previously been shocked by how Tsing-hui had cut off half of Zhuo Fengyun's arm. At this moment, seeing Su Karen make a move, she immediately came to her senses. With a shout, she suddenly raised her sword horizontally. However, her strength was at best similar to Zhuo Fenglei's and was slightly inferior to Feng Yu's. How could she block Su Karen? Accompanied by the aura of a peak viscera refinement cultivator whose 5 viscera and 6 bowels have been completely refined, her unsheathed sword carried the power of a thunderbolt as it fiercely slammed into Zhui Yunqing's body. Scram! Bang! A shockwave erupted. Tsing-hui had been sent flying by Jin Go, who had just started refining his viscera refining stage. Zhui Yunqing's precise control of strength was far inferior to Tsing-hui's, so how could she block the sword of a peak viscera refining stage expert? As the shockwave dissipated, Zhui Yunqing, who had rushed forward to intercept her, was sent flying back at a speed not inferior to the speed she had used to arrive. Her internal organs were almost completely displaced by this sword, and she spat out a mouthful of blood in the air, her aura rapidly declining. Heavy injuries, internal injuries. When this scene fell into Tsing-hui's eyes, his expression immediately turned cold. Although Zhui Yinqing had mocked and ridiculed him in the morning, when faced with Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Xianyang's obstruction, she had not hesitated to stand up and fight alongside Tsing-hui. No matter how you looked at it, she could be considered one of Tsing-hui's people. Now, Su Karen's sword had heavily injured her. It was unknown whether she was dead or alive. Killing intent suddenly surged. Divine art. Chapter 9. Divine Art. This was one of the mysterious abilities given to him by the Chaos Temple. When Tsing-hui mentioned this ability, he had already sensed the existence of this power. At this moment, with a thought, this chaos secret art that could increase one's cultivation by 1 level was immediately activated. Buzz buzz. For a moment, a vast and mysterious pure power emerged from Tsing-hui's body and filled every corner of his internal organs in a way that defied common sense. Organs refinement. His cultivation had increased by 1 level, from marrow cleansing to organs refinement. With the strengthening of his internal organs, his aura, blood, and explosive power were all greatly enhanced. He had climbed to a new level, causing his current state to surpass his peak in China. Bang! Jin Go, who was originally at a disadvantage, felt that Tsing-hui's power had increased by several times. A thunderous force exploded the moment it clashed with his sword. The sword that he held tightly in his hand was almost sent flying by the shockwave. Not good. Jin Go's expression changed drastically. He sensed that something was wrong and immediately retreated. But it was too late. Right now, the Green Ruins attacks were like storm. With the first strike, the second strike followed closely behind. Before he could adjust himself from the attack, he was no longer able to hold the sword in his hand. As his palm split open and blood spurted out, the sword was actually knocked out of his hand. Swish! The sword edge that followed was like a hot knife cutting through butter. Like a bolt of lightning, it instantly pierced into Jin Wu's body. Even though his reaction was extremely fast and he managed to avoid a fatal injury, his body was still left with a dark red sword wound. He was almost pierced through by the sword. After hitting the target, the Qing Su's sword suddenly turned. As Jin Wu cried out in pain, his wound was torn open. He raised the sword and the sharp edge of the sword blocked Su Karen's attack at the same time. Bang! Gold and iron clashed, and sparks flew. Xing Hui retreated and took advantage of the moment to twist his body. He borrowed the force from Su Karen's sword and integrated it into his next sword move, Void Cross Strike. This Su Karen, who originally thought that she had the upper hand, did not have the time to follow up with another attack. She was immediately hit by Xing Hui's counterattack and had no choice but to switch from offense to defense. She held her sword horizontally to block. Waves of air burst forth. Even though Su Karen was clenching her sword tightly, her palm still felt numb from Xing Hui's attack, which was infused with two different types of power. However, in the end, she was still a peak viscera refining cultivator. Her 5 viscera and 6 bowels have been tempered, so the strength of her internal organs was far beyond what an ordinary person could compare with. In an instant, she shook her sword and knocked away Xing Hui's sharp sword. Then, she once again launched a new attack. For a time, under the incredulous gazes of Zhuo Fenglei, Zhuo Xiangdong, Feng Yu, Zhuo Fengyun, and the others, the two people madly clashed. The sound of swords colliding in the air continued to resound, making everyone dumbfounded. Bang! The two people fiercely fought for 10 breaths of time, and a burst of air suddenly exploded in the middle of the two people's battle. Suddenly, the small alley was filled with dust. In the smoke and dust, 2 figures flew out at the same time and retreated. Every step they took on the ground was bound to shatter the stone floor. This, seeing that Cho Xing Hui's strength was not inferior to Su Karen's, everyone's face was filled with disbelief. What was even more shocking was what happened next. Rumble. In less than a moment, a rumbling sound came from under Su Karen's feet. The ground she was standing on was instantly torn apart. Cracks spread all over the ground, causing the 1-meter radius around her to collapse by half a foot. It was obvious how astonishing the power she had just channeled into the ground was. If this power were to erupt in a person's body, it would definitely be enough to blast them to pieces. As for herself, a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. She glared at Xing Hui, wishing she could swallow him whole. Just SOSO, Xing Hui said. He didn't even press the advantage, and his figure flashed, directly appearing in front of Zhuo Yunqing and helping her up. If you're not afraid of death, then come at me, but I won't hold back anymore. After saying this, Xing Hui left with Zhuo Yunqing. Jingo, Feng Yu, Feng Kugi, Zhuo Fengyun, and the others were all shocked. They were intimidated by Xing Hui's momentum and didn't dare to move. How is this possible? Defeated? Miss Su Karen is a disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. How could she be defeated? I can see that Miss Su's cultivation has definitely reached the peak of the viscera refinement stage. She only needs to take one more step to enter the blood transformation stage and become a martial arts grandmaster. With this kind of strength, other than a few grandmasters in the entire Cloud Desolate City, no one can suppress her. Even if she were to challenge the entire Zhuo family, as long as the Zhuo family's grand elders don't swarm her, she wouldn't be afraid at all. But she actually lost. When did Cho Xing Hui's cultivation reach such a level? Not inferior to a viscera refinement expert? What kind of secret technique did he use? Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangdong, who had been clamoring in front of Cho Xing Hui, had a trace of fear in their eyes. Cho Xing Hui's strength was not inferior to a peak viscera refinement expert. In the entire Zhuo family, who could stop him? Cho Xing Hui, could this be the reason why Nayland Fei thinks so highly of you? Or do you have a special bloodline talent? Erasure Yudo's enchanting eyes narrowed slightly. When Xing Hui had helped Zhuo Yunqing away, She had wanted to stop them for a split second. However, the strength that Xing Hui had displayed at that time was not inferior to her own. If she attacked Xing Hui and failed to stop him, it would be a serious blow to her reputation. It was very likely that Nalan Fei would seize the opportunity to prevent her from becoming a true disciple under Elder Zhuri's tutelage. In the end, she did not make a move. Cho Xing Hui's love for me has turned into hatred. If he really has such talent, once he rises and Nalan Fei finds a way to recruit him into the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he may even threaten my position in the future. Xing Hui helped Yinxing back to the Zhuo family's residence. Although he had not gone to the Zhuo family's residence in the past few days, he knew where it was. A cool down of 1 month. Not bad. Along the way, he was still sensing the various changes that occurred when the divine art's primal chaos force remained in his body. He did not know what principle the existence in the primal chaos divine palace used to increase his cultivation by 1 stage without any side effects. Not only were there no side effects, but comprehending the mysteries of organs refinement in advance was also very beneficial to his future organs refinement cultivation. After using it for a long time, it would be easier for him to reach a higher level. Such a method, it was indeed a little unbelievable. It was no wonder Dongxian could advance by leaps and bounds after obtaining the Heavenly Monarch's method to enter the primal chaos divine palace and reach the shattering void stage in 1,000 years. Cho Xing Hui, you've come at the right time. We've been ordered to capture you and bring you back to the family for questioning. Obediently surrender and follow us back. If you dare to resist, you'll be severely punished. That's Zhui Yinxing? What did you do to Yinxing? While Xing Hui was slightly distracted, a reprimand rang out from the front. He lifted his head and saw 4 Zhuo family law enforcers blocking his path. Among the 4, there were 2 organs refinement stage grand elders. It was clear that the family valued this matter. Since you're here, you can take her back to treat her injuries. Xing Hui handed Zhui Yinxing over to one of the elders. He had some impression of this elder. His name was Zhuo Shaozi, and he was a grand elder in the faction of Cho Xing Hui's father, Zhuo Shiri. Xing Hui was relieved to hand Zhuo Yinxing over to him. Cho Xing Hui, what are you trying to do? Zhuo Shaozi's expression turned somewhat strange when he heard Xing Hui's words. Also, what's with the injuries on your body? He must be trying to escape. Why are we wasting so much time talking to him? The Hunyuan Heaven sect's intersect disciple token is extremely precious, and our Zhuo family has completely missed out on it. He has committed such a huge mistake, so we should capture him and bring him back to the family for the Grand Elders to deal with. Chapter 10. Xing Hui glanced at the elder who spoke. Zhuo Feiyu, an elder of the law enforcement hall. Because of Cho Xing Hui, he was deeply afraid of him, so he recognized him. I'll leave him to you. After Xing Hui finished speaking, he turned around and left. Did I say you could leave? Stop right there. Zhuo Feiyu's expression turned stern as he suddenly reached out to grab Xing Hui. Wait a moment, Elder Feiyu. Let me ask you what happened. What happened to Yinxing? Her injuries are not light. And your body? Is this a sword wound? Even though you have committed a grave mistake, as long as your ancestral records have not been removed, you will still belong to our Zhuo family. In the cloud, desolate city, no one dares to easily attack our Zhuo family. Zhuo Shaozi's figure moved, directly blocking in front of Zhuo Feiyu, just in time to intercept Zhuo Feiyu's attack towards Xing Hui. It's nothing. Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and the others couldn't wait to capture me. After they were no match for me, they teamed up with Feng Yu, Jingo, and the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple Su Karen to surround and kill me. Yinxing was injured by Su Karen's sword technique because she wanted to stop Su Karen. Zhuo Feiyu sneered. Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and the others are no match for you? And you even want to ally with Feng Yu, Jingo, and even the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple Su Karen? Not to mention Su Karen, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple, and Jingo, the 2 great organs refinement experts, just Feng Yu, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Fengyun, Which one of them isn't much stronger than you? There's no need for us to join forces to deal with you. Even if you want to blow your own trumpet, you should be more pragmatic. Do you think that the Patriarch Assembly will let you off just because you're talented? Saying we couldn't be bothered to explain too much to Zhuo Feiyu. Zhuo Yinqing was already here, so he didn't stay any longer and turned to leave. Stop! Zhuo Feiyu roared and suddenly stepped forward, aiming for Tsing Hui's neck. However, before Zhuo Feiyu could reach Tsing Hui and lock him in place, the sharp sword in Tsing Hui's hand had already reached him with a dazzling sword light. If Zhuo Feiyu dared to take another step forward, he would definitely be injured by the blade of the sword. How dare you raise your sword against an elder? Zhuo Feiyu narrowed his eyes. Originally, he had only focused on capturing the enemy alive, but now he changed his stance and became even fiercer. He locked onto the enemy, intending to break the enemy's right shoulder blade in one fell swoop and cripple his arm. Buzz! The sharp sword hummed softly. Tsing Hui's sword constantly changed. No matter how Zhuo Feiyu changed his stance, Tsing Hui's sword was always in direct opposition. The two exchanged several moves back and forth. Although there wasn't the slightest bit of physical confrontation, Zhuo Feiyu's expression quickly turned grave. When Zhuo Xiaozi saw this scene, a strange light flashed across his eyes. Tsing Hui, your father has already sent a letter to Miss Fei. If you don't feel ashamed and truly want to conquer Erasure Yudo, you should go to Miss Fei's place and receive her training. With your talent, if you focus on cultivation, you won't lose to any of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect disciples. Zhuo Xiaozi's mouth opened and closed, his voice sounding in Tsing Hui's ears through a special method. Tsing Hui glanced at Zhuo Xiaozi. From the looks of it, although Tsing Hui's father was extremely strict with him and didn't hesitate to expel him from the Zhuo family, it was ultimately just to protect him. Blood was thicker than water. Unfortunately, the real Tsing Hui was already dead. Tsing Hui's sword trembled, immediately forcing Zhuo Feiyu to retreat. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he took a step back as well. The few of you can't keep me here. This matter ends here. With that said, his figure flew forward. Stop right there! Zhuo Feiyu shouted sternly as he quickly blocked Tsing Hui. At the same time, he shouted at the other two marrow-cleansing enforcers. What are the two of you standing there for? Stop him! Upon receiving the order, the two law enforcement hall experts quickly surrounded Tsing Hui. However, Tsing Hui's figure flashed, and he had already extricated himself from their encirclement. Then, with a leap, he pulled them apart. Zhuo Feiyu quickly chased after him, but before he could reach the street, he had already lost sight of Tsing Hui. For a moment, his expression turned rather ugly. However, when Zhuo Xiaozi saw Tsing Hui calmly retreat from the encirclement of Zhuo Feiyu and the two law enforcement hall experts, his eyes couldn't help but light up. From the looks of it, Tsing Hui has already reached the marrow cleansing realm. It's probably because of the marrow cleansing pill. In addition, his combat strength has exceeded my expectations. Perhaps it's true that he defeated Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Fenglei. If he had displayed such talent earlier, the clan leader would have already used the inner sect disciple token to send him to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. I wonder if it's too late for him to turn a blind eye now. Cloud Forest Restaurant. It was one of the top restaurants in the Cloud Desolate City. Its influence was astonishing, and its branches were spread throughout the entire Lorraine Kingdom. It was said that the restaurant used 60% of its profits every year to pay tribute to a true disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect in exchange for the protection of that true disciple. That was why it was able to open restaurants all over the Lorraine Kingdom. At this moment, in a first-class guest room, Erasure Yudo was talking to an old man. The old man looked to be around 60 years old, but he gave off an unfathomable feeling. Even if he stood respectfully in front of Erasure Yudo like a servant, it still couldn't conceal the unique aura of an expert from his body. Mr. Yuan, it's not convenient for me to appear in this matter. I can only rely on you. Erasure Yudo seemed to have finished narrating what she wanted to do. When she was done, she cupped her hands respectfully at the old man in front of her. The old man's name was Hunyuan, and he was a servant of the Hunyuan heaven sect's elder, Juri. As he was good at figuring out the intentions of his superiors, he was highly regarded by Juri, even though his cultivation wasn't good. However, the so-called cultivation wasn't good in Juri's eyes. In fact, he was already a martial Dao master who had reached the great success stage of blood transformation. It was only because he couldn't awaken the bloodline in his body and condense true qi that he couldn't break away from his mortal body and step into the sixth stage of immortality. When Arashir Yudo wanted to personally come to the cloud-desolate city to clear her name, he was sent by Juri to protect her safety. Miss, your decision is very correct. Although Cho Tsing Hui has missed the golden age for cultivation and his future achievements are limited, no one knows if he will obtain any opportunities and soar to the sky. In history, there are countless examples of cultivators who were abandoned by others rising up. Especially in recent years, the extremely mysterious Chaos Shrine has been very active. The number of sons of chaos who have been exposed in the Eastern Wasteland to enter the Chaos Shrine is already more than 100, let alone those who are hiding in the dark. Ending it early is indeed the best way to get things done once and for all. Sons of Chaos. Hearing Hunyuan mention this, Arashir Yudo's heart skipped a beat. When Cho Tsing Hui was fighting with Jingo and junior sister Su Karen just now, he raised his marrow cleansing level to a level that is not weaker than the organ's refining level. It is very similar to the legendary divine art that only level 10 chaos can cultivate. Could it be that he entered the Chaos Shrine by chance and became a son of chaos? Hunyuan laughed and said, I'm just saying, how could it be a chaos skill? It's just a secret skill. Like you said, divine skill is a legendary skill that can only be cultivated by level 10 chaos cultivators. Although there are many sons of chaos in the Eastern Wasteland, more than 90% of them are stuck at level 1 and can't make any further progress. They rely on level 1 comprehension and recovery to gain an advantage. Treasures with Tao are extremely precious. Every time such a treasure appears, it will lead to a fierce battle. Even Immortal Realm Level 6 and Upper Realm Level 6 will personally take action. Therefore, those who are at the higher level of chaos are either patriarchs or elders of holy lands. Ordinary people who are at the level of chaos without a strong cultivation base would have been captured and tortured by those patriarchs and elders of holy lands long ago, forcing them to inherit their level of chaos. Even level 10 chaos cultivators can inherit level 5 chaos cultivators, and many elders are below level 5. Could it be that he also inherited his level 10 chaos from Son of Chaos? Arashir Yudo guessed. That's impossible. Divine Art is a level 10 chaos technique. As far as I know, the sect master of Create Evolve Mystical Sect, Dao Xuani, is only at level 16. If he wants to have a level 10 chaos technique when he inherits it, then the chaos technique of the inheritor has to be at least level 20. There's no one like him in the entire Eastern Wasteland. Hunyuan finished speaking and stood up. Don't worry too much, Mississippi. I'll personally deal with Cho Tsing Hui. You should focus on the bloodline awakening. It's not worth wasting your energy on a person who's about to die. Arashir Yudo nodded. She also felt that she was overthinking. She bowed slightly and said, This matter needs to be carried out secretly. I'll rely on Mr. Yuan. Chapter 11. Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Tsing Hui walked on a mountain path outside the cloud-desolate city as he recalled everything about the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect was one of the top 10 sacred grounds in the Eastern Wilderness, and it was one of the top sects in the second tier. Among the top 10 sacred grounds, the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect was the unshakable number 1 sect. They dominated the Eastern Wilderness, and their forces were everywhere in the Eastern Wilderness. Behind them was the Wuji Sword Sect. The Wuji Sword Sect had inherited the killing Sword Dao from before the Divine Wilderness was destroyed. Although they were now in decline, they still relied on the various numinous treasures and saint artifacts to inherit the killing sword Dao. Even so, the create-evolved mysterious sect was still wary of them. Below them was the Hunyuan heaven sect, the Qinkuan sacred ground, and the six paths of gods and demons. The Shunxiao sword sect, which had developed extremely quickly, was also included. These four sects formed the second tier of the sacred grounds. As for the Pharaoh sect, Jinwu religion, Green Lotus Sword sect, and Giant Dragon Mountain range, because they did not have a Saint six-stage expert overseeing them. Even if their development potential was not weaker than any of the sects other than the Create-Evolved Mysterious sect, they were still slightly weaker than the previous six sacred grounds. The Lorraine country was one of the 24 countries under the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Its national strength was average, but it did not have many experts. Every major city had a blood transformation grandmaster overseeing it. Even the top cities with a population of 1 million had immortal six-stage experts who had awakened their bloodline. From this, one could infer how powerful the Hunyuan Heaven sect was. 6 stages of mortal, 6 stages of immortality. The first stage is awakening. The second stage is sword chi, and the third stage is aura condensation. These 3 stages are the first 3 stages of immortality, also known as the lower 3 stages. Above, that would be the spirit and qi uniting stage, the Qingming stage, and the last stage of immortality, the prominent divine stage. Dong Qian awakened sword qi at the age of 20 and refined aura sword at the age of 30. Clearly, he had reached the aura condensation stage at the age of 30. Above that, sword origin, sword force, realm, shattering vacuum, and so on are obviously not part of the immortality 6 stages. They are higher realms. Seems like I need to study the Chaos Godly Palace in detail and see what made Dong Qian so proud. With a thought, Xing Hui divided a part of his spirit and outlined the Chaos Gate. Suddenly, the mysterious feeling of heaven and earth and the primordial chaos surged into his mind. His mental strength was at level 31, so it was not difficult for him to do 2 things at once. Very quickly, Xing Hui was already in that vast white space. The space was monotonous as always. Xing Hui glanced around and quickly noticed something. He focused his spirit on a point in the vast white space. In the next moment, it was as if a door had been pushed open. The wide environment around him suddenly changed, and he was already in a huge temple. The temple was extremely tall. Looking from the inside, it was still hundreds of meters tall. The interior was spacious, like a small city. It could easily accommodate 100,000 people. There were no less than thousands of people coming and going on the 2 sides of the temple. These people were in a hurry, and they were constantly going back and forth. It made the temple look rather lively. Looks like there are quite a few sons of chaos. Xing Hui shuttled through the temple for a while, and he seemed to understand this phenomenon quite well. Suddenly, a figure of light was projected from the temple, and it turned into a dignified old man. I have a drop of true phoenix blood, a lower level 9 sacred artifact, a upper level 8 sacred artifact, 2 middle level 8 sacred artifacts, and 4 lower level 8 sacred artifacts. Those who are interested can come to Mount Yinhua in the Barren Lands to find me. If the price is reasonable, I am willing to send my incarnation to make the transaction. It's the Xianyang sect master. As soon as the figure of light appeared, there was a burst of exclamations from the crowd. Only Xianyang Daolord, whose strength has reached the 5th level of the 6th level of the Saint Realm, dares to announce his location. However, Xianyang Daolord has an extremely good reputation, and there are very few cases of him seizing things by force. Those who are in Heaven Wasteland region don't have to worry about suffering a loss if they go to him for a transaction. If they're lucky enough to catch the eye of Xianyang Daolord and be accepted as a disciple, then their future will truly be boundless. A level 25 chaotic incarnation technique. TSK. Only Xianyang's sect master is willing to use his incarnation like this. A level 9 sacred artifact. For a cultivator who has just stepped into the immortality realm, it can increase his attack by 25 to 50 levels, allowing him to easily defeat an ordinary third level of the immortality realm. Even if the increase decreases with his cultivation level, it can still allow an immortality realm 5th level to fight against an immortality realm 6th level existence. Heh, a man's wealth is his own ruin. An immortality realm 1st level holding a level 9 sacred artifact. Isn't that seeking death? Even an immortality realm 5th level expert might not be able to keep a level 9 sacred artifact. Once exposed, he will definitely be hunted down. The lowest market price of a level 9 sacred artifact is 50 Taoist rhymes, which is enough to increase a chaotic realm by half. There are so many experts in the Barren Lands, and they are rich in resources. The True Blood of the Phoenix and a level 9 sacred artifact are on sale. Even those who have merged their divine chi in the Barren Lands dare to call themselves kings. Those who have cultivated to the 1st level of the 6th level of the Saint Realm and condensed their true Yuan are even clamoring to unify the continent. They're so arrogant that they don't know their limits. I have heard of the Barren Lands. It is isolated in the sea, and the sea is dangerous. Those who are not saints can't cross it. However, there are countless continents like this that are formed from the fragments of the divine Barren Lands. How can it be compared to the Barren Lands left behind by the main body of the divine Barren Lands? Junior, the arrogant person you're talking about who wants to unify the Barren Lands, is our sect master. Do you dare to tell us your name for insulting our sect master? Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first. Tsing Hui stood to the side, quietly listening to everyone's conversation. He couldn't help but widen his horizons. Tianhuang, Saint Realm. This was information that he could not come into contact with in the cloud-desolate city. What surprised him even more was, according to what they said, they were at least on a mortal level. It seemed like immortal level rank 6 cultivators were the mainstream in the Chaos Shrine. From the looks of it, Dong Qian had really left behind an incredible treasure for him. However, compared to inheriting the primal chaos level of the primal chaos temple, the most important thing was the fortune of the divine jade in his mind. A 9th level inferior grade sacred artifact that could allow a cultivator of the 1st level of immortality to defeat a cultivator of the 3rd level of immortality was only worth 50 Taoist rhymes, which was only equivalent to 50 days of unknown primordial chi of the fortune divine jade. Since Tao Lord Xianyang, who was at the 5th realm of the Saint Realm and clearly surpassed the 6th realm of the Longevity Realm and the 6th realm of the Longevity Realm, had taken out, then its value was obvious. Qing Su's expression couldn't help but become slightly solemn when he realized this. The secret of the Fortune Divine Jade could not be known to anyone. With the Fortune Divine Jade, his primal chaos level would also rise extremely quickly. In order to avoid being noticed, he had to hide his identity as the son of primal chaos as much as possible. Only when I'm strong enough to protect the fortune of the Fortune Divine Jade can I use the mysteries of the Fortune Divine Jade to my heart's content. Moreover, I don't know what kind of realm the Shattering Vacuum Realm is. I need to reach it as soon as possible and find the true God, June's cave abode, to return to Earth. If it's like Dongxian, who took 1,000 years to reach the Shattering Vacuum Realm, Earth would have changed a long time ago. It was a pity that the Taoist rhymes of the Fortune Divine Jade could not be extracted for trade. Otherwise, with a 9th level sacred artifact, he would be able to move unhindered among the 6th level of immortality. The Fortune Divine Jade cannot be used for trade, but the treasures and sacred artifacts refined by the advancement technique can be traded. Tsing Hui narrowed his eyes and focused on the advancement technique that he did not take to heart. After 90 days, when his primal chaos level reached the 11th level, he would be able to use the advancement technique. Just as Tsing Hui was multitasking to learn more about the primal chaos temple, he inadvertently caught sight of a figure in the outer world. Someone was following him. Chapter 12. Someone was following him. Ching Su remained unfazed, but he activated appraisal with a single thought. Immediately, the basic information of the stalker appeared in his mind. Yuan Yang. Except for mental strength, all of his attributes are below the 10th order. Cultivation. Blood-changing realm. The blood-changing realm was a grandmaster of a region. It was easy for them to establish a sect in the mortal world. Even the nobles would try to win over a grandmaster of blood-changing realm. If a grandmaster of blood-changing realm was willing to join a noble's sect, he would immediately be treated as a distinguished guest. Because the Cloud Desolate City was close to the Cloud Desolate Mountain Range, it was one of the largest cities in the Lorraine Kingdom. Although no one had awakened their bloodline, there were 1 or 2 grandmasters in Fong, Jin, Feng, and the City Lord's Mansion. However, there was no blood-changing realm expert called Yuan Yang among these grandmasters. This person was following him with ill intentions. It was most likely related to Erishur Yudo. This woman, Xing Hui, frowned. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect disciple token was given to Cho Xing Hui by Nalan Fei when she saw his talent. However, because he had given resources to Erishur Yudo for a long time, his performance was mediocre. As a result, Zhuishiri was unwilling to give him the token and send him to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. After all, the token was obtained by Nalan Fei on behalf of the Zhua family. If the Zhua family sent someone with mediocre cultivation to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, not only would they lose face for Nalan Fei, but what would the other true disciples and elders think? It was one thing to send someone directly into the inner sect through the back door, but to send a trash who didn't even have the qualifications to be an outer sect disciple. Did you think you had the final say in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect? Because of this, the Zhua family was extremely envious of this disciple token. They were also extremely hostile to Cho Xing Hui, which gave Erishur Yudo an opportunity. Now, Erishur Yudo had entered the inner court of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect after obtaining the token. Moreover, Elder Zhuri had taken a liking to her. If Xing Hui were to vanish into the crowd and be trapped in the Cloud Desolate City for the rest of her life and never enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, no one would pursue the responsibility of her, a person who relied on stealing a disciple's keepsake to enter the inner sect. But once Xing Hui entered the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and performed well, Nalan Fei only needed to add fuel to the fire. Not only would Erishur Yudo be affected, but Elder Zhuri would also be criticized. Nalan Fei had clearly stated that Erishur Yudo was a thief, but Elder Zhuri still insisted on accepting her into the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. As a result, the sect almost lost an even more outstanding genius disciple. At that time, let alone Erishur Yudo, even Elder Zhuri would be reprimanded. Even if there was no specific punishment, once Elder Zhuri took this matter to heart, Erishur Yudo, who had entered his sect, would be finished. Erishur Yudo obviously understood this point. After witnessing Xing Hui erupt with battle prowess not inferior to a peak viscera refining expert, she immediately asked Yuan Yang to follow and secretly kill him. Blood transformation stage. Qin Su was able to defeat peak organs refinement experts in a single battle with his Saint technique, his mastery of the sword from the Eastern Sun Sword sect, and his talent in the way of the sword from the Chaotic Divine Hall. But against this Grandmaster blood conversion, obviously, his strength was not enough. In addition, young peak viscera refining experts like Su Karen obviously could not compare with Yuan Yang's sword arts and techniques. Even if they were both peak viscera refining experts, Su Karen was definitely not Yuan Yang's opponent. Erishur Yudo. I have fused with Cho Xing Hui's body, so I should inherit Cho Xing Hui's gratitude and resentment. However, I was originally in a hurry to cultivate to the shattering vacuum stage, so I had no time to care about these trivial matters. Even Zhua Fengyun and Zhua Fenglei, I only taught them a lesson. I even planned to let you go for the sake of the bottle of marrow-cleansing pills, but I didn't expect you to be so unforgiving and want to kill me. Very well, since you want to play, I will accompany you to the end. Xing Hui's eyes flashed with indifference. Cultivate? Where can I cultivate? The Hunyuan Heaven Sect can also cultivate. His comprehension had increased, and his thinking speed had become extremely fast. He understood why Hunyuan only followed from afar and did not dare to attack immediately. He was obviously afraid of exposing himself. Once the news of Hunyuan killing him spread and reached Nalan Fei would take the opportunity to make things difficult for them, let alone whether they could bear Nalan Fei's anger. Even if the elder behind them came forward, he might not be able to protect them. The status of a true disciple was not necessarily inferior to that of an elder. Some of the best among the true disciples could even compete for the deputy sect master's throne and become the successor of the Hunyuan Heaven sect master. Thinking of this, Tsinghui used a special technique to penetrate his bone marrow and cultivate the marrow cleansing stage while walking on the main road at a steady pace. Not long after, a caravan came from the direction of the Cloud Desolate City, carrying the banner of the Cloud Forest Tower. Considering the Cloud Forest Tower's huge influence in the Lorraine Kingdom and the Hunyuan Heaven sect's true disciple behind them, Tsinghui stepped forward and cupped his hands towards the leader. "Attendant, how should I address you?" "So it's the Zhua family's prince, Tsinghui. Young master, you can call me Intong. Do you have any instructions?" When the attendant saw Tsinghui, he did not dare to be negligent and cupped his hands in return. "I would like to take a ride in the Cloud Forest Tower's carriage. Please make it convenient." Yin Tong's hesitation did not last long before he agreed. "What's so difficult about that? I'll prepare a carriage for Prince Tsinghui. However, we're heading to the Lorraine royal capital, so I'm not sure if it's on the way. Coincidentally, I'm also heading to the Lorraine royal capital." "Oh, Prince Tsinghui wants to take a flying boat from the Lorraine royal capital to the Hunyuan Heaven sect?" Tsinghui nodded and did not hide anything. Immediately, Yin Tong became even more enthusiastic. "I'll get someone to instruct him. He definitely won't neglect Prince Tsinghui." Very soon, everyone had made all the necessary arrangements. They had specially cleared out a carriage for Qing Su. When the group set off again, a young guard following beside Yin Tong couldn't help but frown. "Uncle, it said that Cho Tsinghui has been expelled from the Zhua family because he stole the family's keepsake and committed a grave mistake. Why do we still have to treat him so politely? Expelled from the Zhua family? Has this matter been made public? Do you know why the Zhua family, second-rate family that doesn't even have a blood transformation grandmaster, has such power in the Cloud Desolate City? It's naturally because of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's core disciple Nalan Fei. Zhua Shiri's father took Nalan Fei as his adopted daughter and raised her for several years. Although the Nalan family came to take her away, Miss Nalan still remembered this favor and returned to visit her parents 6 years ago. At that time, Miss Nalan was already a core disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect and had an extremely respected status. The Zhua family, which was originally just a small family, relied on Miss Nalan's kindness to soar and prosper. That's right, Miss Nalan was taken in as old Mr. Zhua's adopted daughter. In terms of seniority, she is Cho Tsinghui's aunt. Back then, Miss Nalan left a Hunyuan Heaven sect inner disciple token in the Zhua family because she saw that Cho Tsinghui's talent was pretty good and wanted to guide him. In fact, when Zhua Shiri adopted Erishur Yudo, he might have imitated his father and wanted to bet on another opportunity. However, unlike the kind-hearted Miss Nalan last time, this time, Yin Tong couldn't help but shake his head. He had adopted an ingrate. "You mean, Miss Nalan is nominally repaying the Zhua family's kindness, but in reality, the only one who has shown her kindness is Zhua Shiri's bloodline?" "That's right. Otherwise, how do you think the weak Zhua Shiri's bloodline could sit on the patriarch seat? It's all because of his relationship with Nalan Fei that the other bloodlines pushed him up. Old Mr. Zhua has passed away, and if something happens to Zhua Shiri, Nalan Fei may not recognize the Zhua family anymore. If the other bloodlines of the Zhua family really want to rise, they can only bypass Zhua Shiri's bloodline and climb up to Nalan Fei. This is also the reason why they are scheming against the Hunyuan Heaven sect's disciple token. If Cho Tsinghui really becomes ordinary, The Zhua family can send another talented disciple to the Hunyuan heaven sect, and Nalan Fei will take care of him. The young guard was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect a second-rate family like the Zhua family to have so many schemes and schemes. In fact, this isn't the reason why I'm so polite to Cho Tsinghui. After all, it's very likely that we'll offend Erisher Yudo because of this matter. Erisher Yudo is very talented and has caught the eye of Elder Juri. Once she becomes a disciple of an elder of the Hunyuan heaven sect, she has a high chance of becoming a true disciple in the future. Then, Deacon, when I left the city, I received a very interesting piece of news. As Yin Tong spoke, he cast a meaningful glance at the box Tsinghui was in. The eldest son of the Zhua family's main bloodline, who usually doesn't show his brilliance and is overshadowed by Erisher Yudo, Jingo, and the others, recently defeated Zhua Fengyun, Fengyu, Jingo, and even the outstanding outer disciple of the Hunyuan heaven sect, Su Karen. He has shown amazing talent. Now, he's going to the Hunyuan heaven sect to seek refuge with Miss Nalan Fei. I'm looking forward to what kind of future he'll have. Chapter 13. Damn it. Cloud Forest Tower's convoy, Yuan Yang, who was hiding in the dark, walked out from a side road with a gloomy expression. He felt a little regretful. If he had known that Cho Tsinghui would board Cloud Forest Tower's convoy, he would have taken action the moment Cho Tsinghui left the city. Even if he was in danger of being discovered, he would have been able to eliminate the witnesses as long as he acted quickly. But now, there was no use in regretting. Cloud Forest Tower's influence spread throughout the Lorraine Kingdom, and their business extended beyond Lorraine's borders. They had many experts, just like the convoy just now. There were 2 viscera refinement experts and more than 10 tendon transformation and marrow cleansing experts. Although he was not afraid of this lineup, he was not confident that he could kill them all. Once someone escaped and leaked the news, I'll have to return and plan further, Yuan Yang thought to himself as he turned to leave. But at that moment, he seemed to have thought of something. I remember that there's a small sect in Lorraine called the Tiana sect. It was founded by one of Master's servants. I can't guarantee that I can wipe out the Lorraine Kingdom's convoy alone. If I count in the Tiana sect's experts, thinking of this, he made a prompt decision. I'll rush to the Tiana sect immediately. I might be able to intercept them before they step on the flying ship to Hunyuan heaven sect. My psyche is strong. I can penetrate my force into every part of my bone marrow and temper it. I still need a year to complete marrow cleansing cultivation. Tsinghui sat in a carriage and cultivated for a day. He immediately understood the time needed for this realm. However, he did not want to stay in the marrow cleansing realm for a year. Tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, blood changing. In the Danyang Sword Manual, there are similar methods of refining the body to strengthen one's qi and blood. Even though it doesn't divide the realms in such detail, it can be summarized as tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood changing. Among them, Shaolin Temple has tendon changing scripture and marrow cleansing scripture, which are created specifically for tendon changing and marrow cleansing. Tsinghui's mind went through the longevity secret art. He had been cultivating the longevity secret art since he was a child, and its compatibility with this body was quite high. Moreover, there were ways to connect it later. When he reached the peak of blood transformation, he could cultivate the true Azure Dragon secret art and stimulate a bloodline similar to the sacred beast Azure Dragon. The disadvantage was that it was too gradual and followed the rules. The Eastern Sun Sword sect's Eastern Sun Sword scripture lacked a follow-up, and it didn't have a bloodline activation method, so it wasn't very compatible with him. But sword cultivation had always been fierce and domineering. The reason why Tsinghui was able to become a sword sage in 6 years in China on Earth was not unrelated to the mystery of the Danyang Sword Codex. If one did not consider the future continuity, the Danyang Sword Codex was even better. As for connectivity, the secret art of longevity's Azure Dragon secret art was not a high-level secret art, so he did not need to think too much about it. He might as well rely on himself to obtain a more profound secret art to activate his bloodline. The Danyang sword mantra can be cultivated at the same time as tendon changing, marrow cleansing, and organs refining. Tsing immediately practiced the secret art recorded in the Danyang sword scripture: tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood transformation. Because his body was not used to it, even though Tsing Hui had the experience of cultivating these secret arts when he was on Earth, he still felt unbearable pain all over his body. After cultivating for less than an hour, his whole body was sore and swollen. However, before he planned to rest for a day and continue cultivating the next day, a cool and refreshing feeling emerged from his body and nourished his body. It actually dissipated most of the soreness in his body. Recovery characteristic? Tsing Hui paused and rested for a while before he once again immersed himself in the tendon-changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood transformation cultivation. The Danyang sword scripture is a secret art of sword cultivation. It is both powerful and domineering at the same time. If one cultivates it incorrectly or is in a hurry to succeed, it will often leave behind hidden injuries. Because of this, the Danyang sword sect has never produced a martial Dao grandmaster in the past 100 years. Even those swordsmanship experts who have succeeded in cultivating it often find it difficult to live past 60 years old. This is the price one has to pay to cultivate the Danyang sword scripture so quickly and powerfully. However, I increased the recovery point in the Chaos Temple. It seems to have made up for this shortcoming of the Danyang sword scripture. Tsing Hui was pleasantly surprised by this discovery. He vaguely seemed to have found the future development direction of the Danyang sword sect. However, he could not help but fall silent when he thought of the Danyang sword sect. Now, he was in the eastern wilderness. Compared to Earth and the Danyang sword sect, he was separated by two worlds. Even if he found the future development direction of the Danyang sword sect, what was the use? I have to hurry. Tsing Hui lowered his head and muttered to himself. 10 years. 20 years at the latest. Crushing the vacuum. This was the goal he had set for himself. Even though it seemed like an extravagant hope, after a long time, he could not wait. Jiang Ningji also could not wait. Thinking of this, Tsing Hui, who had been a little sore and swollen, calmed down once again. Cultivate, continue. Prince Tsing Hui, use this. It will be helpful for your cultivation. In an inn in a small town, Yin Tong found Tsing Hui, who was practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard, and handed him a box. This is blood essence powder. We have seen Prince Tsing Hui's cultivation during this period of time, but according to Prince Tsing Hui's cultivation method, it will leave behind hidden dangers in your body. Use some of this blood essence powder to apply internally and externally. Not only will it slightly increase your cultivation efficiency, it will also be good for your body. Blood essence powder. Tsing Hui had vaguely heard that this was a precious medicine that was worth 100 gold taels. 100 gold taels was worth 1,000 taels of silver. Even in Lorraine's royal capital, a family's annual income was only about 30 taels of silver. Although Yun Tong was a steward of Cloud Forest Tower and was a viscera tempering expert, the blood essence powder that was worth 100 gold taels was probably half a year's income for him. Tsing Hui pondered for a moment and took out an item. Cloud Forest Tower should have its own business channels. Help me sell this and exchange it for blood essence pills. This is... Yin Tong took the box from Tsing Hui and opened it. His pupils immediately constricted. Marrow cleansing pill. Prince Tsing Hui broke through to the marrow cleansing realm. But he did not consume this marrow cleansing pill. Yes, Tsing Hui said. Yin Tong looked at Tsing Hui with a different gaze. Prince Tsing Hui, are you really going to sell the marrow cleansing pill? You relied on yourself to cultivate to the marrow cleansing realm, so you must have just broken through. Once you consume the marrow cleansing pill, it will probably push your cultivation to the peak of the marrow cleansing realm. Sell it, Tsing Hui said. He was currently cultivating marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood reformation at the same time. The marrow cleansing pill was not as effective as the blood essence pill. Cloud Forest Tower is willing to exchange 10 blood essence pills with Prince Tsinghui. Sure. The blood essence pills market price fluctuated between 1,500 to 2,000 gold. Compared to the marrow cleansing pill that cost between 10,000 to 15,000 gold, it was much inferior. However, 10 for 1 was enough. Yintong was very efficient. With Cloud Forest Tower's business network, he had already brought 10 blood essence pills to Tsinghui the next morning. After obtaining the 10 blood essence pills, Tsinghui's cultivation efficiency increased by several times. Relying on his recovery characteristics, he spared no effort to squeeze out his body's potential and was able to refine 1 blood essence pill a day. After 10 days, he had refined all 10 blood essence pills. With the help of the 10 blood essence pills, his aura had undergone a huge change. He was not inferior to an ordinary organs refinement expert. The Eastern Yang sword mantra's cultivation technique is extremely overbearing. Coupled with the fact that I can use other people's techniques to improve myself, my physique has greatly improved in just half a month. Since I'm cultivating tendon changing, marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood reformation at the same time, I can't determine my exact realm. However, if I were to face people like Su, Karen, and Jean Go, I would be able to defeat them even without the help of the Chaos Temple's divine techniques. With this, he finally had the strength to protect himself. Chapter 14. The convoy moved forward, but stopped when they were 4 days away from the Luo Lin Kingdom's capital. They were waiting for someone. Because there might still be people behind them, Tsinghui did not leave the convoy. Instead, he used the environment of the convoy to cultivate in peace, hoping to adjust his physique to the limit of the human body, equivalent to the blood transformation grandmaster level. The waiting time was not too long. On the second day, a group of 4 people joined the convoy. The 4 people consisted of a man and a woman, 2 young people, and 2 people dressed as guards. It was worth mentioning that among the 4 people, without exception, all of them had cultivation not weaker than the viscera refinement stage. 2 of the guards had already reached the peak of the viscera refinement stage and were beginning to circulate their blood and qi. That night, when they were resting in the small town, Yintong specially came to invite Tsinghui to have a meal together and introduce the 2 people one by one. Prince Tsinghui, these 2 are our Cloud Forest House's young master Yunbai and young Miss Hunyuan. Young master and young miss are going to the capital to take the flying boat to participate in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Outer Disciple Assessment. They hope to enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and become a member of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Yintong introduced from the side. So it's young Master Yun. I'm sorry for not recognizing you. Tsinghui nodded slightly to the 2 people. Greetings, Prince Tsinghui. The 2 people bowed to Cho Tsinghui with a lukewarm attitude. When Yintong saw this scene, he felt a little helpless. He had already told Yunbai and Yunyun that Cho Tsinghui had an extraordinary background and that there was someone behind him. In the future, when he entered the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, he had a chance to enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect. He hoped that his young master and young miss would have a good relationship with Cho Tsinghui as soon as possible. He never thought that his young master and young miss would be used to being flattered by others in Thousand Four City. But in front of his own young miss and young master, a servant like him naturally couldn't criticize them, so he immediately said with a smile, "Young Master Ching Su is a famous young elite in our Cloud Desolate City. His cultivation is unfathomable, and it's said that his sword technique has even reached the peak of perfection. His future is limitless." That's not right. I've heard of the Cloud Desolate City. There are a few young elites, but I've only heard of Jingo, Erishur Yudo, Zhuofengyan, Fangyu, and a few others. Cho Tsinghui, he has a reputation, but... Yin cut in and interrupted. Yun Tong hurriedly said, "That's because Prince Tsinghui usually doesn't reveal himself. In fact, Prince Tsinghui is the most outstanding genius in the Cloud Desolate City. You may not know, but when Prince Tsinghui left the Cloud Desolate City half a month ago, he defeated Fangyu, Zhuofengyan, and Jingo, the three great experts of the cloud desolate city. Even Hunyuan heaven sect's outer sect disciple Sukaran was only evenly matched with him. He's that powerful? Why would the Zhua family announce that such a genius was expelled from the family? For a small family like the Zhua family, it's not easy for such a young genius to be born. No matter what, they have to think of ways to nurture him. Could the rumors be wrong? Yin Tong's face darkened when he heard this. Do you know how to speak? Sing Hui did not want to waste his breath on the two people at the table. He stood up and said, Deacon Yin Tong, I've finished my meal. Thank you for your hospitality. I still have a sword art that I need to carefully study, so I won't disturb everyone's meal. Goodbye. With that, he left. Yin Tong could only stand up and cup his hands at Tsing Hui before sending him off. After Tsing Hui left, Yin Tong smiled bitterly and turned to Yun Bai and Hunyuan. Young master and young miss, you've really missed an opportunity to befriend Prince Tsing Hui. However, Yun Bai and Hunyuan did not think much of it. Instead, Yun Bai smiled and said, Deacon Yin Tong, Father said that the two of us are already adults and allowed us to go out. We already have enough ability to judge our own actions. When you sent me a message 3 days ago, I already sent someone to investigate Cho Tsing Hui. In the end, the result was that he's just fishing for fame. Although he's the eldest son of the Zhua family's patriarch, he's obsessed with women and has no intention of improving himself. It's said that his cultivation is only at the tendon transformation stage. Not long ago, he even made a huge joke by handing over the opportunity to enter the Hunyuan heaven sect's intersect to Erishur Yudo. He's really obsessed with women. What right does such a lecherous person have to befriend his siblings? If it weren't for the fact that I wanted to see what kind of person he is, I wouldn't even be bothered to drink with him at the same table. But this time, young master and young miss have really misjudged him. Yin Tong smiled bitterly. Deacon Yin Tong, you're worrying too much. This is the first time Father has allowed us to act independently. We naturally have to be careful. I was the one who ordered the investigation, and the people I chose were also my most trusted aides. How could the final result be false? I just sent a message to young master and young miss 3 days ago. 3 days, including the journey. The trusted aides only have 2 days to investigate. Thousand Forest City is not close to Cloud Desolate City, and a round trip will take half a month. In just 2 days, young master and young miss have only heard news from half a month ago. All right, Uncle Tong, we're quite confident in our own abilities, but since Uncle Tong says he's so amazing, we have no choice but to give Uncle Tong face. In any case, there's still a 3-day journey to the capital. On the way, we'll find an opportunity to test him. If he really has the ability, we'll befriend him. At that time, we'll enter the Hunyuan heaven sect and have more friends there. Test him. Yin Tong hurriedly shook his head. Young master and young miss, if you really want to befriend him, then treat him with sincerity. Why do you need to test him? If you don't want to befriend him, you must not be careless. You just need to maintain the current situation so that it won't end well. Won't end well. Do you think the small Zhua family can't make our Cloud Forest Tower not show up? Our Cloud Forest Tower has as many experts as the clouds. Which of the 12 elders isn't a master? As for the Zhua family, if we put aside their relationship with the Hunyuan heaven sect, they're not even worth mentioning. Which one of the 12 elders doesn't have the ability to destroy the Zhua family? I believe that Cho Tsing Hui doesn't have the courage to fall out with our Cloud Forest Tower. Yin Yin picked up a specially prepared towel and elegantly wiped her lips. She spoke calmly, but her tone was filled with strong confidence. All right, that's it. We have our own ability to judge people. Yin Tong smiled bitterly. He originally wanted to find an ally for his young miss after she entered the Hunyuan heaven sect, but now it seemed that his young master and young miss were too opinionated. It was good to have confidence in oneself, but if this kind of confidence reached the point of blindness and refused to listen to anyone's advice, it would only bring disaster. Half a month ago, Cho Tsing Hui was naturally not worth mentioning and had no value, but who hadn't heard of the saying that a scholar who has been away for 3 days must be looked at with new eyes? We can't make enemies for the Cloud Forest Tower because of a small matter. Since young master and young miss don't like Cho Tsing Hui, then just pretend I didn't say anything. The next day, the convoy set off again. As they were close to the Luo Lin royal capital, there were many more villages on both sides of the road. In addition, Tsing Hui could no longer sense the faintly discernible feeling of being watched, so he already had the idea of leaving the convoy alone. Yesterday's conversation could not be said to be pleasant. Just as Tsing Hui was about to find an opportunity to leave, the sound of rushing carriages and horses suddenly came from the front. Immediately after, he saw a group of masked riders quickly galloping in the direction of the Cloud Forest Tower. There were more than a dozen riders in this group, and every one of them was an expert at the very least. Among them, the four leading them had even reached the viscera refining stage and could be called first-rate experts in the Jianghu. Yintong's face changed when he saw these people sneaking up on them. He shouted, "Get into formation! Defend!" Immediately, all the guards, including the two peak viscera refining experts beside Yunbai and Hunyuan, appeared at the same time to protect Yunbai and Hunyuan. "Who dares to attack my Cloud Forest Tower's caravan?" Yintong stepped forward with a blade in hand and shouted. The group that was charging forward and seemed to be about to crash into the Cloud Forest Tower's defensive formation, when they saw Yunbai and Hunyuan, as well as the two great peak-level organ refinement bodyguards beside them, they abruptly stopped under the signal of their leader. They stopped less than 10 meters away from the Cloud Forest Tower's formation. Why are there four more viscera refining experts? Two of them are even at the peak viscera refining stage. These two peak viscera refining experts are the Cloud Forest Tower's needlewood guards. Usually, only the relatives of the Cloud Forest Tower's owner will personally protect them when they go out. The children of the Cloud Forest Tower's owner are in the caravan? Every needlewood guard is a peak viscera refining expert who has experienced hundreds of battles. If it weren't for them, it wouldn't be difficult for us to destroy the Cloud Forest Tower's caravan that only had two viscera refining experts. But now, even if my lord makes a move, there will be fish that escapes the net, especially since the Cloud Forest Tower's influence is spread all over the world. Once the Cloud Forest Tower is angry, they will definitely find out about our Tianna sect. In the end, the consequences will be more terrible than offending a true disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. The dozen riders intercepted the Cloud Forest Tower's caravan, but they were all hesitant to move forward. Compared to the true disciples who were far away, these people were obviously more afraid of the Cloud Forest Tower, which was a local tyrant. This group of people was naturally the Tianna sect and Yuan Yang, who was ordered to kill Tsing Hui. We have already acted rashly and alerted the enemy. The matter is considered a failure. If they could take advantage of this opportunity to kill Zhuo Qingxiu, they could more or less salvage the situation. No one would take a dead man's life too seriously. But if Zhuo Qingxiu didn't die, the enmity would be irreconcilable. Since there are children of the owner in the Cloud Forest Tower, in order to ensure their safety, they won't easily interfere in this matter. So, Erasure Yudo had asked him to act secretly, but now the arrow was already knocked on the bow. Yuan Yang couldn't care less about exposing his identity. He was Elder Zhuri's follower. No matter how bad the situation was, Elder Zhuri would protect him. Blood transformation stage. Yintong's heart sank when he felt the pressure of the majestic blood qi on Yuan Yang's body. Yuan Yang urged his horse forward and said in a deep voice, "We are here for Cho Tsing Hui. If the Cloud Forest Tower hands over Cho Tsing Hui, we will leave immediately." Cho Tsing Hui? As soon as Yuan Yang finished speaking, everyone in the Cloud Forest Tower's caravan looked at Tsing Hui. Chapter 15. Although you're wearing a mask, I recognize you. You're Yuan Yang. Did Erasure Yudo send you here? Tsing Hui stepped forward and asked. Yuan Yang's expression changed. He didn't expect that Tsing Hui, a person from the Cloud Desolate City, would be able to recognize him. Being exposed and hiding one's identity were two completely different matters. If his identity wasn't exposed Elder Zhuri might be able to get away with it. But now, once Nalan Fei pursued the matter, Elder Zhuri might not be able to protect this incompetent servant. Damn it, I don't know what you're talking about. Yuan Yang suddenly turned to Yin Tong. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Hand him over, or die. He's really sent by Erasure Yudo? What a vicious woman. According to Yuan Yang's reaction, Yin Tong suddenly guessed something. He was shocked. However, he immediately realized that their Cloud Forest Tower's position was extremely important. If they used it well, it would be an extremely rare opportunity for their Cloud Forest Tower. If they protected Xing Hui and sent Xing Hui to Nalan Fei, not only would Nalan Fei be able to take down Erasure Yudo and send Cho Xing Hui to the ranks of inner disciples, their Cloud Forest Tower would also be able to use Cho Xing Hui to connect with Nalan Fei, a direct disciple. Young Master, young Miss, Yin Tong's gaze immediately turned to Yun Bai and Hunyuan. As the children of the Master, even if they were only one of the dozen children, they were still considered the highest leaders since they were here. Our Cloud Forest Tower can't get involved in this matter. Yun Bai looked at Yuan Yang, who was emitting an aura that was even stronger than the Cloud Forest Tower's elder, and quickly said, "This matter might be beneficial to our Cloud Forest Tower. It's better to provide timely assistance than icing on the cake. If we can take this opportunity to save Xing Hui." Benefit? There was an elder behind Erasure Yudo. What good would it do to offend an elder? Our Cloud Forest Tower cannot interfere in this matter. Erasure Yudo isn't a disciple of an elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, but the relationship between Cho Xing Hui and Nalan Fei is definitely true. Nalan Fei is not a member of the Zhua family. Who knows how much she values the Zhua family? All right, we must not interfere in this matter. After Yin Bai finished speaking, she cupped her hands at Yuan Yang before turning to Xing Hui and saying, "Cho Xing Hui, this matter is between you and Erasure Yudo. It's not appropriate for our Cloud Forest Tower to get involved. Please don't blame us." Xing Hui glanced at Yin Bai and did not say a word. Before Yuan Yang and the others were about to finish their negotiations with the Cloud Forest Tower, Xing Hui took advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention and dashed into the forest at the side. "Stop him!" Yuan Yang roared as the blood energy in his body suddenly erupted. Like an eagle soaring into the sky, he leaped over 10 meters and charged towards Xing Hui. The horse under his feet let out a painful whine under the force of his blood energy eruption and fell to the ground, bleeding to death. The Tianhe sect people cupped their hands at Yin Bai and Hunyuan before they quickly dismounted and charged toward the forest at the side. Seeing the Tianhe sect people's etiquette and recalling how Cho Xing Hui had coldly left without saying a word, Yin Bai could not help but snort softly. People from small clans don't know how to be polite. Even if our Cloud Forest Tower is unwilling to help him, he still stayed in our convoy for more than 10 days. How could he leave without even saying goodbye? This kind of person will never achieve great things. Yin Tong saw Xing Hui running away quickly and knew that it was useless to say anything now. He could only do what he was supposed to do. "Young Master, young Mistress, we can't stay here for long. It's better for us to leave as soon as possible." Yin Bai and Hunyuan wanted to see the result, but they saw that Xing Hui's speed was not slow at all. Both parties were chasing and escaping, and soon disappeared into the forest. They could only reply, "Let's go." Swish! Xing Hui's figure was darting through the forest at high speed. Yuan Yang and the others did not dare to block and kill on the official road, so they chose a rather remote place. There were many forests around them that were not very dense. However, although these forests were not dense, it gave Xing Hui some time to deal with them. He had already switched to the fierce and domineering Dongyang sword scripture. He had studied this scripture for many years when he was on Earth. Now that he was cultivating it again, he had accumulated a lot of knowledge. Coupled with the continuous consumption of blood essence pills and the mysterious recovery characteristics, in just 10 days, he was no weaker than a viscera refinement expert. At full speed, other than Yuan Yang and 2 other peak viscera refinement experts, no one could keep up with him. Coupled with how powerful his mind was, and how fast his reactions were. He constantly changed directions as he ran, which made it even more difficult for the Heavenly River Sect's masters to chase him down. After running for 15 kilometers, Hunyuan was actually the only one left chasing after Qing Su. He dares to chase after me alone. Xinghui glanced at Hunyuan behind him, his eyes cold. His figure did not change, but his speed increased again. This little bastard, killing intent surged within Hunyuan. Seeing how Qing Su had actually sped up again, he sucked in a deep breath, and his vital energy erupted viciously. Like a cannonball, he closed the distance between them in a single instance. A sharp sword stabbed out from his hand, tearing through the air with an ear-piercing whistle. Bang! Just as the sword was about to pierce Xinghui's back, Xinghui seemed to have sensed something. He quickly turned and blocked with his sword. Not only did he block Hunyuan's sword, but he also used the force of the sword to retreat. His toes tapped on a tree branch behind him, and he ran more than 10 meters forward, increasing the distance between them again. Little bastard, you've exposed my identity and will most likely be punished by the elders. Do you think I'll let you escape? Die for me. Seeing this, Hunyuan roared again. His body was like a stream of light as his sword tore through the air and stabbed behind Xinghui. However, Qing Su seemed to be able to predict his opponent's movements at all times. He retreated and redirected the thunderous strike, causing its power to plummet, and he blocked it again with his sword. He actually used the force of the strike to widen the distance between them once more. This little bastard's swordsmanship is really amazing. He has grasped every bit of power to the extreme. Even compared to those experts who have practiced swordsmanship for decades, he is not inferior. Su Karen's defeat at his hands is not undeserved. Hunyuan's two swords missed, and his gaze on Xinghui finally became serious. When he saw Qing Su flee as quickly as a cheetah, comparable to the speed of a blood transformation expert when they erupted with their vital energy, he knew that he would not be able to last for long if he continued to squander his vital energy like this. He no longer chased after Qing Su so easily. Instead, he followed behind Qing Su, waiting for him to run out of energy before dealing him a fatal blow. For a moment, the two of them, one chasing the other, quickly traversed hundreds of miles in the forest, leaving the Tianhe sect's viscera refining experts far behind. After 100 miles, Xinghui's breath did not weaken, but Hunyuan felt that his qi and blood were running out. He was old and weak. Even if he was a blood transformation grandmaster, running 130 miles at full speed would still consume a lot of energy. On the other hand, Xinghui's recovery ability not only healed injuries, but also had the same effect on replenishing physical strength and energy. Even if he maintained his full speed, he still retained 60 to 70% of his physical strength. What's going on? This little bastard seems to have an endless supply of physical strength. Whoosh! Just when Hunyuan felt that something was wrong, Xinghui, who was originally rushing in front, suddenly turned around. The sharp sword in his hand turned into a bright light, meeting Hunyuan's pursuit at an incredible speed, completely filling his body. Not good. Hunyuan's expression changed drastically. He immediately unleashed his qi and blood and moved to the side, dodging this calculated sword strike. However, before he could rejoice after dodging the sword strike, Xinghui had already turned around and formed a sword with his left hand, viciously stabbing at his heart. Even though Hunyuan moved to the side again, the force still penetrated his left shoulder. Not only did his bones break, but a strange power also locked down the circulation of qi and blood in his left shoulder, causing him to lose all feeling in his arm. Meridian severing technique. Running 130 miles, you still have such stamina, recovery ability. Son of Chaos. You're a son of chaos blessed by the Chaos Temple. A hint of fear appeared in Hunyuan's eyes. Apart from the recovery ability of a son of chaos, he could not think of any other reason why a viscera refining expert's stamina could surpass that of a blood transformation grandmaster. When he was chasing Xinghui, He had told Erishur Yudo about the Son of Chaos and felt that Tsing Hui could never have obtained the inheritance of the Chaos Temple. Who would have thought that his joke would come true? Tsing Hui really was a son of chaos. Everyone, please vote for me today. It's already the new book ranking period. Please cast your precious votes and help Chungfin break through the new book ranking. Chapter 16. The Sons of Chaos were a group of existences that couldn't be measured by common sense. Although more than 90% of the Sons of Chaos in the world were only at the first stage and had no hope of advancing to the second stage in their entire lives, there were always some lucky ones who could obtain the inheritance of a certain almighty and inherit half of the Chaos level, thus soaring to the heavens. Tsing Hui was clearly one of these lucky ones. In addition, according to the divine technique he had displayed in Cloud Desolate City half a month ago, 10th stage, he was actually at least a 10th stage Son of Chaos. At this thought, Yuan Yang's breathing quickened. Even if a 10th stage Son of Chaos inherited it and fell to the 5th stage, it would still allow his cultivation to soar. If he could improve his comprehension and recovery, it wouldn't be difficult for him to revive a withered tree and stimulate his bloodline to step into the awakening realm. Opportunity. This was Yuan Yang's greatest opportunity. Yuan Yang stared at Tsing Hui and shouted in surprise and madness, "Son of Chaos! 10th stage Son of Chaos! Yuan Yang's opportunity has finally arrived. Kid, give me your unique method to open the chaos and I can spare your life. Otherwise..." Swish! Before he could finish speaking, Tsing Hui's sharp sword suddenly stabbed him, interrupting his pleasant surprise. In his shock, he immediately blocked with his sword and faced Tsing Hui's sword head-on. The two swords collided fiercely in the void. Bang! Sparks intersected. Tsing Hui's right hand trembled violently, and his palm seemed to burst with blood, but he held on tightly to his sword. His body stuck close to Yuan Yang's figure, and his left hand pointed at him again. "Take me prisoner." In the face of this finger, Yuan Yang, a blood transformation expert, displayed unbelievably tyrannical strength. His sword trembled and slashed horizontally at an incredible speed, intending to behead him before the finger could hit his vital points. However, just as the sword slashed horizontally, he seemed to wake up from his daze. He couldn't kill him. If he killed him, how could he force Tsing Hui to reveal the method to open the primal chaos and inherit his rank as a Son of Chaos? With a change of thought, the tip of the sword changed from cutting to stabbing. Furthermore, the direction of the sword, which was originally aimed at the head, changed to the chest, and even deliberately avoided the heart. Chi, the sword light penetrated his body. Faced with Yuan Yang's attack, Ching Su formed a sword with his fingers and actually did not back away at all. He allowed Yuan Yang's sword to pierce his lungs as he stabbed his right hand towards Yuan Yang's chest viciously. Even though Yuan Yang managed to avoid being hit in the heart by a hair's breadth, the unique force of the meridian severing technique still caused his body to suddenly freeze in the next moment. Tsing Hui's figure retreated explosively as blood spurted out from his body. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain of the sharp sword piercing through his body. With a swing of the sword in his right hand, Yuan Yang's entire arm was cut off and sent flying into the air. Yuan Yang let out a ferocious and painful roar. As he retreated explosively, his eyes were filled with disbelief. You didn't dodge? If you behead me with a sword, I'll dodge. Other than that, even if you stab me in the heart, with the recovery characteristic, I believe I can still persevere." Tsing Hui glanced at the wound on his body and stopped the bleeding. Besides, the place you stabbed wasn't even the heart. Yuan Yang's heart was filled with regret. The temptation of becoming a 10th stage Son of Chaos had almost blinded his mind, causing him to be unwilling to kill Tsing Hui in the battle. Tsing Hui wasn't a weakling, and he had consumed a lot of energy. Under such circumstances, if he fought with all his strength, his chances of winning were only 70 or even 60%. How could he be restrained? But now, with his right hand cut off and a broken bone in his left hand, Not to mention capturing Tsing Hui alive, it would be difficult for him to even protect himself. I can't capture him. I need help. With this thought, Yuan Yang retreated fiercely, intending to escape and meet up with the rest of the Tianna sect. However, Tsing Hui wouldn't make the same mistake. He seemed to have been waiting for Yuan Yang to lose his will to fight and retreat. While Yuan Yang was retreating, he rushed forward, and a sharp sword in his hand was like a meteor striking the moon, instantly stabbing towards Yuan Yang. Get lost! At the critical moment, the peak blood-changing Grandmaster roared. Even though his left hand was severely injured, he still hammered out. His energy erupted, creating a thunder-like air explosion in the void. Tsing Hui didn't dodge and slammed into Yuan Yang's thunderous hammer. As his body was blasted away, he slashed with the sharp sword in his hand and cut off Yuan Yang's legs. Ah! Bang! A scream and a crash sounded at the same time. Tsing Hui, who was sent flying, slammed heavily into a tree as thick as a thigh. The dissipating force broke the tree, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. As he spat out the blood, his recovery characteristics were activated. Traces of cool air constantly moistened his burning internal organs. On the other hand, Yuan Yang, the blood-changing Grandmaster, not only had one arm cut off, but both his legs were also cut off. His whole body was covered in blood. The severe pain almost drowned his consciousness. Even if he had a powerful strength, he couldn't use it at all. As long as he went to the Lorraine royal capital, he could take the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's flying ship to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and use Nail and Fei's relationship to become a Hunyuan Heaven Sect disciple. But before that, he had to have enough strength to protect himself. Organs refining? Obviously not enough. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.